They are just underway at St James's Park. Newcastle against Manchester City. Here are Conor McNamara and Jonathan Woodgate.
Thanks very much, Mark. Yes, we're just underway under the bright floodlights, under the dark, inky skies. Evenings like this, which St James's Park really relishes, and an early chance, and a Harvey Barnes shot is saved by Donnarumma after Joe Linton went and clattered into Phil Foden, who received a short pass on the edge of his own penalty area. A hungry Joe Linton pounced one it off him, and Harvey Barnes tried to tuck it into the bottom corner, and Donnarumma forced it to a save inside 40 seconds, Jonathan.
Yeah, that's the press that Newcastle will be doing all game against Man City. If they try to play out like that, we'll pounce on it. The three in midfield will be all over it.
Nights like this, that this stadium so comes into its own. Dark already at kick-off. Buzz about the crowd, bit of a hunger from Newcastle to make an impact. They know they're better than recent results. Hall sends a pass just fractionally too far in front of Harvey Barnes, and it rolls through to Donnarumma. But this very early stages is a promising start from any house team. As City are calling the ball again to Gianni Reinders, tackled by Hall. Down goes Nico Gonzalez. Referee blows the whistle. Free kick to Manchester City. City who haven't put two passes together yet, and Newcastle trying to make it as uncomfortable as they can. Cold evening here. As City get off the team bus, you can see a few shivers, and Newcastle don't want them to warm up into this atmosphere. And old Doku's made a mistake now, just about remedies it. But City have had a strange start here by their consistent standards. They've given the ball away again.
Yeah, you can see Newcastle going man to man, really aggressive, with them not taking a step back. But if Man City can play through it, they'll have a chance.
There's the groans, the first misplaced Newcastle pass. Haaland is in, tries to flick it around Pope, who came out of the penalty area, and it ends up 7 or 8 yards wide of the target. Not quite sure what Erling Haaland was trying to do there. Keeper came storming out towards him. He wouldn't have been able to handle the ball out there, Nick Pope. And Haaland, rather than sort of bring it around the keeper, tried to kick it over him. But by his exalted standards, that's a very strange attempt from Erling Haaland.
That's a huge chance for Haaland, a huge chance. You'd expect him to score. It was better than a Newcastle chance early on. Two chances early on in the game. What's gone 3 minutes?
It bodes well, Jonathan, for the next couple of hours here. This could be fun. Bright start to the game. 5 live BBC sounds. We're on the BBC Sport website and app as well. Newcastle United 0, Manchester City 0. City unchanged for the third Premier League game in a row. Newcastle making 3 alterations from their last game, the defeat against Brentford. All 3 are defenders, Livramento and Hall in as fullbacks. Fabian Schär in alongside Malik Chow at the heart of the defence. City's tall Donnarumma, who conceded 4 goals the last time he played here. That was for Paris Saint-Germain against Newcastle in the Champions League 2 seasons ago. And he's forced to kick it long here. Long searching over the halfway line. Bruno Guimaraes is underneath it, but his header goes straight to Riyad Cherki. And then immediately Fabian Schär lunges in on him and sends the ball back into the Manchester City half of the field. So Newcastle line up with Nick Pope in goal. It's the 350th appearance of his senior club career. Back four of Livramento, Chow, Schär and Hall. 3 in midfield is strong. Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali and Joe Linton. And the front 3, Jacob Murphy and Harvey Barnes, either side of Nick Voltemade. For City, Donnarumma the keeper behind an unchanged back 4. Mateus Nunes, Ruben Diaz, Josko Gvardiol and Nico O'Reilly. The 3 in midfield are Bernardo Silva, Nico Gonzalez and Phil Foden. And then Riyad Cherki and Jeremy Doku in support of Erling Haaland up top. Haaland, who's hoping to get his 100th Premier League goal today. If he does, it'll be in 109 Premier League games, which will be far faster than anyone else in the Premier League era. And I am keen to stress in the Premier League era, because if you go back in the history of top flight football, it has been done quicker. More of that anon, because O'Reilly's coming forward for City here, played for England in the week, gives it to Doku on the left hand side. Doku's right foot across, looking for Foden, comes off at Joe Linton. There's a few appeals from City fans. It might have been a handball. Voltemade is caught in possession 20 yards outside his penalty area, so City get it back in an attacking zone. But this is Joe Linton sweeping across, regains control, gives it to Bruno Guimaraes, into the feet of Tonali, no space for him. Doku slides in, but Tonali is as strong as granite as he rides the challenge and brings possession into the City half. Hall is caught on the ball by Mateus Nunes, and it's a real feisty start to the game in the terms of challenges and both teams not allowing each other to breathe.
The team out of possession's really looking to lock onto their opponent, especially early on. They try to do it. when Manchester City get the ball around the halfway line, Newcastle drop into a 4-5-1 system, really compact in between the lines, and that's what Man City are trying to exploit. They're trying to get in between the lines, they're trying to get forward and in between the lines.
Great to have Jonathan Woodgate alongside us today here on 5 Live as Cherky rolls it into the penalty area. Haaland, angle is tight, tries to pull it back, and Livramento inside the 6-yard box has no choice but to put it out for a corner kick. First corner of the game for Manchester City on the left-hand side. Haaland, who sometimes is slow to get involved in games. I mean, he often only needs a few touches, but that's twice now he's been in attacking positions of play, and City prepared to take the corner on the left-hand side. Newcastle have everyone back to defend this. No tall presence of big Dan Burn today, remember. He's suspended after that red card against Brentford before the international break. Here comes the delivery. Cherky sends it in. There's pushing, but I think it was pushing before the kick was taken. Let's see. Referee wants to talk to players. I think this is going to be retaken, and that's why there's a few groans from Newcastle fans who thought there might have been some respite for this particular City attack.
I think he goes down a bit too easy. It's a tiny little shove, he just goes down too easy, which all players do these days. I think it's what players do these days, don't they? They just go down with a little shove.
Ruben Diaz and Fabian Schär, the two who tangled, and Schär, who's big and tough, he's well able to stay at his feet if he wanted to. He rather dramatically fell into his goal mouth there. Anyway, referee has told them to stamp that out, and he's going to get the Manchester City corner to be taken again. And Cherky more elevated this time. Joe Linton to the front post, headed straight up into the air, and it goes out for a second Manchester City corner in succession. Interesting day in the Premier League already, with plenty eyebrow-raising scorelines. From a Manchester City point of view, if they win today, they move a point behind Arsenal, who play tomorrow against Spurs in the North London derby. Cherky, corner comes back out to him this third time, and he shoots right-footed towards the near post, well held into the gloves of Nick Pope.
When he comes in on that right foot, Cherky twists, turns, little step over. I thought he was going to nestle in the back of the net, but he took it well, Pope.
Another misplaced pass. This time, Newcastle give it away. Doku, the dangerous Jeremy Doku, player of the match against Liverpool last time out 2 weeks ago before the international break, when City beat Arne Slot's team by 3-0. They've lost 3-0 again today. First time since 1965 that Liverpool have lost back-to-back league games by 3 goals or more. Ryan Cherky today making only his 4th Premier League start for City. He's looked really good in recent weeks, as Mateus Nunes picks up possession on the right-hand side of the City attack, rolls it back to Ruben Diaz, who's already up a good 15 yards inside Newcastle territory, and then pursued by Joe Linton. Ruben Diaz has to react and retreat, and he'll roll it from the halfway line all the way back to Donnarumma, away to our left-hand side. He passes to Josko Gvardiol, who scored against Newcastle in this fixture here last season. The Croatian has gone on a big run here. He started on the edge of his penalty area, goes all the way deep into Newcastle territory, then lays it off to Nico O'Reilly. Now here's Manchester City's other Nico Gonzalez, who was on the score sheet in that win over Liverpool last time. Short pass to Ruben Diaz. For the first time, there's no high press from Newcastle today, and Ruben Diaz, almost startled by that, is dilly-dallying, and then Joe Linton does press in on him and wins the ball back for Newcastle.
Newcastle are doing a really good job when Man City have the ball, being really compact in between the lines, and you've got Doku, Cherky and Foden just playing in that area of the pitch, trying to get him behind the Newcastle midfield. It's going to be a really good test for Newcastle midfielders.
8 minutes played. Newcastle 0, Manchester City 0, and Nico O'Reilly collects a long crossfield ball on the left wing. Livramento close by for company. It comes back to little Bernardo Silva, 15 yards outside the box, left-hand side. Cherky, low ball into the area. Thought he saw a run from Foden, and sliding back to clear it away was Malik Chow. That goes out for a City throw on the far side. Cherky has been sharp and alert in these early stages of the game. Newcastle, who started brilliantly in the opening few minutes, really putting City under pressure. Now City have settled into things a little bit more. Tonali, 10 yards outside his own penalty area, under pressure from Nico Gonzalez. Doku comes across to try and help, and the ball goes out for a City throw. Jonathan.
They've got hold of the game now, Man City. Apart from the first 3 minutes of the game, you'd say Man City have got control of it now, and the start, they're looking for the little pockets of space to find. They're taking the time on the ball. Newcastle are in the shape.
They'll be getting underway in Dublin in the Rugby Union Ireland against South Africa. You can listen to that over on Sports Extra right now. We will keep you up to date with events of the rugby with correspondent Chris Jones here on 5 Live, as Ruben Diaz's pass is just too high for Nico O'Reilly, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into Newcastle right back position for them. O'Reilly, who got his first caps for England this past fortnight, he started both games at left back, and left back might be one of those positions in Thomas Tuchel's team that someone like O'Reilly could make his own between now and next June.
He's got a real chance. I think he's an exceptional player. With Guardiola giving him his opportunity last season, and especially this season, he's kicked on. You know, he used to be a number 10 and he's playing left back. That's the credit to the manager about putting him in that position of a left back. I think he's a fantastic talent. I think he's got every chance of going to the World Cup.
Nico O'Reilly, still aged just 20. He is still unbeaten in every Premier League game he's ever started for Manchester City. So any game that they haven't won in the last couple of seasons, he's not been in the starting team. So Livramento has a throw in for Newcastle, gives it short to Jacob Murphy. Bruno Guimaraes prods it on forward to Tonali. That's nice. Back to Bruno Guimaraes again. Voltemada will hold it up on the halfway line. Now Tonali looks to switch it. High and expansive over the head of Mateus Nunes. Controlled perfectly by Harvey Barnes. And he plays a nice pass for Hall to the byline. Left hand side. Hall's cross comes in. And a defensive header back there was important from little Bernardo Silva, the shortest man on the pitch, was able to rise and win it inside his own penalty area. Good recovery there, but that's how Newcastle will hope to get at City today. The switch from Tonali, the clever interchange between Barnes and Lewis Hall, and the Newcastle fans roaring their approval for that.
Yeah, the 2v1 down Newcastle's left hand side will be big, with Hall and Barnes. Good link up play, quick switch of play, and they can get at Nunes. They can really get at him.
No goals on 5 Live at St James's Park. Harvey Barnes' possession, 10 yards into the City half. And Mateus Nunes backing away from him, so Barnes makes up quite a bit of distance here, gets to the edge of the penalty area. Short pass to Lewis Hall. Foden is back to help out Mateus Nunes now in that defensive position. Bit of space in field for Bruno Guimaraes here. Sprays it over to the right hand side to Tino Livramento. 3 changes in the Newcastle starting team today. Good ball in. Voltemada, what a save, Donnarumma. Oh, he couldn't have hit that better, Voltemada. He hits it down low to the goalkeeper's right from a high header. It's a really good attempt from Voltemada, but that's why Donnarumma is ranked as one of the greatest goalkeepers in the world. What a save.
It's a huge chance. Voltemada just pulls off the back of the centre back. But what a save with his right hand, strong, knocked it out into a good area. No chance for a rebound. It's a fantastic save.
I mean, it really is. We've seen the replay. It's not tucked in the corner from Voltemada, but that's a difficult place for keepers to get down to, low to their body. Pushing the penalty area from Ruben Diaz. There's appeals that there was a penalty for a foul on Lewis Hall. However, the referee is giving an on-field decision of no penalty. He will delay the restart. The video assistant referee will always take another look at something like this. They're sprinting back into the penalty area. Hall gets his body in front of Ruben Diaz and then goes to ground. I think Hall realises he's not going to be able to do much with it by the byline. But is there any case, Jonathan, that there's a foul there by the defender?
I think Hall was looking for it. It was looking to run across Diaz. You can see there the referee's just wave play on, not a penalty, and I totally agree with him.
So that has been confirmed. There's the whistle from the referee confirming that play can get back underway. The video assistant referee today is Craig Pawson. So decent opportunities at both ends. 13 minutes played. Newcastle 0, Manchester City 0. Newcastle fans feel that City are taking too long over this goal kick. Josko Gvardiol eventually boots it down the field, looking for Jeremy Doku, cut out by Livramento. This is Jacob Murphy on the far side, controlling possession. Gives it back to Livramento, who received it very well with the first touch that propelled him forward. And then he runs on it, actually clipped his own heel there, Livramento. He could have got back for a third time in the move. As it is, Donnarumma gets possession and clears it under pressure. High up into the floodlights. Haaland jumps, misses it completely. Taken down onto the deck by Jeremy Doku, who scored again for Belgium over the international break, having got his first Premier League goal of the season. Last time out for City against Liverpool. Back to Donnarumma again, who's wearing bright yellow today. Bright orange gloves away to our left-hand side. Haaland makes a run. Donnarumma spots it. Sends it long. We don't see City do that often. And Malik Chow gets in ahead of Erling Haaland, makes an important interception.
He's done really well there, Chow. You can see what Manchester City are trying to do. They're looking to play out, but if Newcastle will go one-on-one with Haaland on the halfway line, Man City going long into Haaland.
A free kick given to Newcastle for a foul inside the centre circle. I think Malik Chow's been one of the signings of the summer, actually. It seemed a lot of money, £34 million from Milan. A player who wasn't very heralded. but he has settled in really well. It's now his 8th start in a row for Eddie Howe for Malik Chow. He's looked good.
Out the team as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and that doesn't that just say everything? Yeah. Yes, Sven Botman, who's dropped to the bench today with the returning Fabian Schär, who's making his first league start since mid-September. Right. Newcastle free kick, 0-0 at St James's Park. This is the Premier League on 5 Live for the BBC. City are holding a really high defensive line here. They're fully 10 yards outside the penalty area. Tonali will play it in behind that line. City now scurry back. Vodiol wins an important header. Then Malik Chow puts it back into the box. And then Guardiola sort of jumped across Erling Haaland, but it did the job. And it helps the ball back to Donnarumma once again. Scores elsewhere today in the Premier League. Chelsea moved up to second by beating Burnley by 2-0. Bournemouth came back from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 at home against West Ham. It finished Brighton 2, Brentford 1. 7 goals in 7 Premier League games for Danny Welbeck as Brighton came from behind to win there. Fulham beat Sunderland, a late winner for Raul Jimenez. Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 3. 6 defeats in 7 Premier League games now for Liverpool as Forest win at Anfield for the 2nd season in a row. And it finished Wolves 0, Palace 2. Palace move up into the top 4 for now. Here comes Jeremy Doku for Manchester City. Picks out Erling Haaland, shoots left-footed, sliding was Livramento, who makes a very professional block there. The timing was everything from Livramento as he lunged just as Haaland tried to score. A shot on target from that distance usually only means one thing for Erling Haaland. City hold on to possession. Foden to the byline, down the right-hand side, hangs it in, but no one had gambled on getting to the back post. It was actually a decent ball from Foden, but they were all lurking deeper as Livramento tries to clear the ball away and he can only give it to Nico O'Reilly. So City hold on to possession, still 0-0 here, 16 minutes play.
Newcastle having a real problem when Doku comes in the pocket and Nico O'Reilly goes wide.
As he is again, Doku to Foden, and sliding across is Fabian Schär to put the ball out for a corner. Just hesitated because Foden went down and City were appealing for a penalty kick there as he came sliding across. Felt like a clean challenge in real time, but we'll get to see the replay of it here. Foden about to shoot. He gets the ball, doesn't he? Does he?
No, I don't think he does.
Oh, he doesn't.
He doesn't get the ball.
He doesn't.
But I don't think it's a penalty.
Well,
I don't think he does enough.
It's one of those, and this is why I think it's so difficult to be a referee in real time. That all happens in the blink of an eye. We see the replay. Foden gets a shot away as the challenge comes in. Now, the shot goes wide of the target, so presumably the sort of feeling here is, well, he had his shot and it wasn't going in. But then there's no doubt that Schär coming across like a train, certainly makes connection with Phil Foden.
He makes contact, but after the shot, I think.
Yeah. But if that's a pass in midfield and you've hit the pass and you clean someone out like that afterwards, you don't say, well, it's after the pass. That's a late tackle. I'm just being the devil's advocate for you here, Jonathan. Well, the decision is no penalty, and there's a lot of relief for that around St James's Park for the Newcastle fans. I mean, Foden, I think that, it's not a penalty, and we're not trying to dispute or change that. There's no doubt Foden's aware of the player coming in. That affects the quality of shot that he takes. But I guess he's got to just be stronger. He's got to take it full on.
He's got to be confident in his own ability to finish it. He should finish it, really.
And Phil Foden, who has only got 1 Premier League goal this season, he scored in the Manchester derby in September. 0-0 here as Fabian Schär hits a long crossfield pass. Tonali's made a great sprint after this. Donnarumma has to come out of his penalty here, controlled it with his upper thigh as he came out of the box, and he clears it away. Anywhere will do as the Italian then turns and scampers back into his penalty area. Schär over the halfway line to Joe Linton, stabs it with the outside of the boot to Harvey Barnes on the left wing. Barnes fancies a run here against Mateus Nunes. Little tug of the shirt from the Portuguese international. They both fall in a crumpled heap on top of each other. Referee says there's no foul there. Rayad Cherki back helping out Mateus Nunes in the right back position, clears it up towards the halfway line, and Malik Chow, nothing fancy, puts it out for a Manchester City.
He done well
throw.
there, Nunes. He done really well. Harvey Barnes running him down the line, stood strong. Wait for Barnes to make that first move and just took the ball off him quite easily.
Manchester City hoping to move within a point of Arsenal. 0-0 here at St James's Park so far. Highlights of all of today's Premier League games will be on Match of the Day from 10:20 tonight on BBC One. Here is O'Reilly into Jeremy Doku. Back to the halfway line again, and Josko Gvardiol, if you're just joining our coverage here on 5 Live, early chances at both ends. Donnarumma's made a great save to deny Voltemada. Haaland put through pretty much one-on-one with Nick Pope, scooped it way wide. Was a long way out, but still, this is Haaland we're talking about. Here's O'Reilly, crossing position on the left-hand side for Manchester City, just outside the penalty area. Gives it back to Bernardo Silva, short pass to Nico Gonzalez. Back to Bernardo Silva once again. Back to Nico Gonzalez again. City fizzing the passes around, but still very much in the central third. Gvardiol drops his shoulder. Back to Bernardo Silva, playing with the head up, scanning the horizon, looking for options. Jeremy Doku, who's been so explosive in recent weeks, takes on the first defender, goes around him, into the penalty area. Jeremy Doku, too many magpie black and white shirts in his way though, and then Newcastle's clearance is poor, and Doku will get it back again, and into the penalty area it goes, but Livramento did enough, and it'll be taken away by Malik Chow, out from the back, as Newcastle fans breathe a sigh of relief once again. Right, there has been an early try in Dublin. Ireland are taking on South Africa. Here's correspondent Chris Jones.
Up to the 22, Ireland go. They trail by 5. Ireland 0, South Africa 5. Williams are scoring a brilliant try for the box, but here go Ireland. Mac Hampton over to the right-hand side to O'Brien, who's looking for the corner. Compelling, captivating stuff in Dublin. 6 minutes gone. What a contest. Ireland 0, South Africa 5.
So commentary continues on Sports Extra. South Africa, who haven't won in Dublin since 2012, here at St James's Park. No goals between Newcastle United and Manchester City as Foden plays the ball onto Rayan Cherki down the right hand side. It's a chance to get his head up and see who's in field. Rolls it back to the edge of the box. This is Foden. Closely monitoring him is Bruno Guimaraes. Back to Cherki again on the right hand side. Newcastle have got 10 players back behind the ball, and even Voltemada, who's not actually behind the ball, but he's virtually in his final third here. And Manchester City finding a very deep lying Newcastle defence. Newcastle, who have conceded the second fewest goals of all Premier League teams this season. Only Arsenal have got a better defensive record in that regard. As the ball is played by Bernardo Silva out to Nico O'Reilly on the left hand side, gives it back again to Nico Gonzalez, this time into Phil Foden, who's had a good early chance here but couldn't get his attempt on target. Mateus Nunes again, back into Foden once again, who's got his long sleeve shirt pulled down low and he's sort of tugging it between his thumb and his fingers. Out to the left hand side goes City to Bernardo Silva, and it often is death by 1,000 cuts with Cities, and then just try and wear you down, but Newcastle make it a key interception and get the ball back.
Newcastle do so well in the shape, just waiting for City to play. Little passes through the lines and they're ready to pounce with the midfield 3. The 2 wingers are getting all the way back in. They're making it really difficult for City.
Hall comes over the halfway line for Newcastle. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Harvey Barnes into Voltemada, tried a little flick return, doesn't find its target, but it is picked up by Joe Linton. And Bruno Guimaraes here will spray it over to the right hand side. Control well by Jacob Murphy. Now there's plenty Newcastle players in the penalty area, but the cross comes in a little bit too high for all of them. Lewis Hall sprints out to the corner flag to keep the ball in play, and he's done well. Here's Bruno Guimaraes squaring up to him. Phil Foden, 5 or 6 yards outside the penalty area. Bruno Guimaraes has to use his left arm to brush Foden away. Fabian Schär gets it to the left hand side to Lewis Hall. Back again to Schär. Newcastle have only had 3 home Premier League wins this season. This is Hall, back to Schär again. He's looking up, he's looking for options, and he plays it long. Jacob Murphy's the target here, but that was a very ambitious pass, and it's cut out by Josko Gvardiol.
Tonali's unbelievable at picking second balls up in the centre of the pitch. Any knockdowns, he's on it. Same with Joe Linton, really, but I think Tonali's the pick of the midfield 3 for Newcastle at the minute. He's on everything.
Sandro Tonali, who's played in all of Newcastle's Premier League games this season, and that is a midfield 3 that you would imagine would get into most Premier League teams, really. Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali and Joe Linton. If Newcastle do have problems, it's not in that area. Here is Bernardo Silva, midway inside his own half. City playing from left to right as we look down their traditional sky blue, the white shirts, the sky blue socks. Rayan Cherki receives it off Erling Haaland. And nudges it out to the left hand side to Nico O'Reilly, back into Rayan Cherki once again. Tonali tries to get it off him, but has fouled Cherki right in front of the referee, and that's a free kick to Manchester City.
He's quick, Cherki, nimble, really good feet, bought the foul. But you can see now Man City really gaining control, looking to play through the middle of the pitch, looking for up back throughs, hitting Haaland, then into Cherki, and then they're running. They're looking very dangerous.
Clock ticks on in this game. Still 0-0. Phil Foden rolling the ball back to Ruben Diaz. Attempted flick by Ryan Cherki's a bit too fancy that time. Bruno Guimaraes is able to win it back, and then Tonali sets Harvey Barnes in motion, where he received that brilliantly. Now in for Voltemana, saved by Donnarumma again. Second time in the match that the big Italian has denied the big German one-on-one.
Connor, I think it was an easy save. I thought it was a really bad finish. Didn't catch it well. Lacked a bit of composure. Needs to hit the corners. It's quite straightforward for Donnarumma, but he should score. It's a big opportunity.
Really good build up there, Tonali and Barnes, and Voltemana just unable to give the sort of thunderous finishing touch that a move like that required. But it's got to be encouragement for Manchester City that they've got into these shooting positions a few times now. Here's Harvey Barnes on the left-hand side, gives it short to Lewis Hall. Back to Barnes again, lightning fast, quick first touch to Joe Linton there. Joe Linton's going to have a job in his hand to get there ahead of Ruben Diaz this time. Diaz plays it off Joe Linton, and that'll be a Manchester City throw right full-back position for them. More live football coming up tomorrow on 5 Live, when we will have Leeds against Aston Villa from 2 o'clock, and that is followed by the North London derby at 4:30. Arsenal against Spurs. Ball-by-ball commentary from the Ashes continues as well, of course. I'm not the world's biggest cricket fan, Jonathan, but I can tell that
I'm not neither.
That's not got off to a good start. Even I know that. But all the reaction to it on the TMS feed on BBC Sounds. Here is Matheus Nunes, Ryan Cherki, Tonali again. He's having a storming game so far, really rising to the occasion today. Good cross into the centre, but there's no one there for Newcastle, and Donnarumma is able to come out and gather it all in one motion. He bowls it out overarm for Nico O'Reilly, dealt with well by Tino Livramento. Newcastle have just upped to gear in recent minutes. Here's Livramento down the right hand side. What a tackle by Guardiola. It goes out for a corner. Guardiola was appealing. The last touch came off the Newcastle player there, but the referee's assistant on the far side, who's Nick Greenhalgh, says no, that is a corner kick.
Yeah, he gets across well there. Guardiola reads it really, really well. Livramento took off. He was quick. He was looking to maybe be a foul, but it wasn't. It looks like he's just his ankle a little bit, but I think he'll be okay. But down that right hand side with Livramento, you can cause him problems. He's lively, he's quick. He wants to get into the box and produce crosses.
And he's just a little bit gingerly stepping back to his feet here. Tino Livramento, a player who's just come off the back of an injury. It was a knee problem that he picked up against Arsenal in September. Eddie Howe will have slight concern there, but it's good to see he doesn't need treatment anyway. He's up and he's hobbling. Newcastle have got 2 players standing over the corner kick. Murphy takes it. Haaland sort of scuffs it clear, not fully. So Livramento, this will be a test for his leg here, and he doesn't do anything fancy, and maybe feeling the pain because he's hobbling. He turns and he rolls it back to Nick Pope. He didn't fancy anything more elaborate than that. Long ball from Nick Pope is a waste, and that goes straight out of play for a goal kick to Manchester City. Still Newcastle 0, City 0.
Yeah, it looks like he's hurt himself there, Livramento. He is just hobbling. He's walking gingerly on it. Won't be good for Eddie Howe. He's had so many injuries, especially for this game. It won't be ideal, that's for sure.
Eddie Howe, who is 4 years in the job this week. He's got the warm, padded, hooded top on down there, the sort of zipped up tracksuit top. Watching play on what is a cold evening in St James's Park. Donnarumma's clearance here looks for Erling Haaland. Gets there ahead of Cher. Does well to keep the ball in play, but Cher did well against Haaland there, because even though the Norwegian kept the ball in play, it was going to go back to Chow, which is what happens. And then between them, Cher and Chow were able to deliver the ball to Lewis Hall on the left hand side. He drops his shoulder. Powerful. That's good. Up to the halfway line he comes. Newcastle just in the last few minutes have got a new confidence, and after 1 or 2 sloppy moments they're now beginning to ask real questions again.
They're playing with the crowd as well. The crowd are getting behind them, because you can see they're trying to make an effort to really get forward and really get into the Man City backline. They're doing that down both sides of the pitch, left hand side, right hand side, causing problems.
Arsenal fans will be listening on from afar. They would love Newcastle to get a win here, to take the points off Manchester City. Here's Ryan Cherki, challenged by Bruno Guimaraes. I love the way he does that. He celebrates making that tackle. I mean, maybe not like quite scoring a goal, but as if he's just provided a key assist.
It does it every time, and do you know what? I just seen a ball boy jump up as well and celebrate with him.
It does, though. It drums the atmosphere. It stirs the pot, doesn't it?
It's brilliant as well, because this place, when it's noisy, when it's a racket, you know what it's like. It's a difficult place to play.
I remember being here at St James's Park when Bruno Guimaraes made his Premier League debut, and we interviewed him for Match of the Day. And, you know, having never seen the guy play, hang on, come back to that. Here's Jacob Murphy. Good ball in. Harvey Barnes should have scored. Open goal, puts it wide. He ever so slightly allowed it come across his body. He's come in off the left wing, Barnes. The cross is from the right hand side. He let it cross his body. He wanted to tuck it into the bottom left corner. He's got to score that, Jonathan. That is a big miss.
That is the biggest chance that Newcastle will get today. They had two in Valdemar early on, but this is... Oh, my word. That is an open goal. 6 yards out, back post. Misses the target. Newcastle have had three massive chances.
Gigantic chance, that one. Harvey Barnes, who scored his first Premier League goal of the season last time out against Brentford, should have put Newcastle United in front here. And well, City have had a few eye-catching moments in attack of their own. You would say over this opening half an hour, Newcastle have been the bigger attacking threat in the game.
They've been the bigger attacking threat. I'd say Man City have possession of the ball, but Newcastle had the biggest moments in the game.
Here comes Nico O'Reilly down the left hand side for the visitors, gives it back to Jeremy Doku, 5 yards outside the penalty area. 2 or 3 Newcastle players lined up directly in front of him. City start fizzing it around, little short triangular passes in around the edge of the Newcastle penalty area. Back to Josko Gvardiol, back to Ruben Diaz, back to Gvardiol again. City quite stagnant here inside the centre circle. Newcastle now tried to press, but a nice back heel from Mateus Nunes breaks through the press of Lewis Hall, and Cherki gets a chance to look up from the right hand side. Back to Mateus Nunes, thundering across his Fabian Schär, and he puts it out for a corner to Manchester City. Still Newcastle 0, Manchester City 0.
Read it really well there, Schär. Just got across nicely. Slight 2v1 down the right hand side, but he just came out. He's so experienced. Fabian Schär, terrific footballer for Newcastle over the years.
Phil Foden's going to take this corner kick. Haaland has gone in close on the goalkeeper. Nico Gonzalez is lurking on the edge of the box. Here it comes from Foden towards the front post, and it's headed out for another corner. So it'll be take 2 for Phil Foden on the right hand side. City have only had 1 defeat in the last 14 games. That was when they were beaten at Villa Park in October. They've arrived here at St James's Park tonight in a real confident run of form. But Newcastle are playing well from what we've seen so far here this evening. Foden's really taking his time over this. He's allowing everything to settle in the penalty area before he takes the corner kick again. Here he comes out, raising his right hand as a signal. There's all sorts of jostling going on towards the front post area. Malik Chow's header won't clear the box. Back in by Nico Gonzalez. Schär jumps well, and then it lands for Cherki, who hits it, but he hits it wide of the target. Difficult technique that, as the ball is coming down from a height. He did well to keep it low, but it's wide to the left hand side for Rayan Cherki. It's still 0-0 and 5 live.
Yeah, he made really good contact with it there. Took control of the ball. Decent volley, not on target. I expect better. I expect to hit the target from 18 yards out, half volley with a player of his calibre.
Much talk in the build-up to this one about Erling Haaland being on 99 Premier League goals. If he does score today, it'll be a century of top-flight goals in 109 Premier League games, quicker than Alan Shearer's record from the past. But of course, that is the Premier League record. Football did start before 1992, and because we're in the northeast, it would be very amiss not to mention Dave Halliday, who played for Sunderland a century ago, back in the 1920s, but he scored 100 top-flight goals in 101 top-flight games. And I know they're not Premier League goals, but I think important we don't forget those.
No, goals are goals. You're scoring that amount. I could only dream of scoring that many goals.
But I think it's good that we've got you here today, Jonathan, to discuss Haaland, because you've spent your life analysing strikers, thinking about how you would stop them. I mean, we'll come back to it in just a moment here, because O'Reilly breaks into the penalty area. Back for Erling Haaland. What a save from Nick Pope. Haaland shot 7 yards out. If he's reacted to that, Nick Pope, that's stunning. It may be straight at him, maybe he reaches out a hand, but Erling Haaland seemed odds on to score and he doesn't, and then there's all sorts of appeals for a foul on the halfway line. But that's Haaland's best chance of the day, and Nick Pope's denied him.
Nick O'Reilly did so well coming down the left-hand side, and I saw Haaland just pull back from Chow and just waiting for the ball. The ball was on a sixpence for him, and he just hit it. Pope done really well, made his frame big, made a really good save. It's just this run down the side from Nick O'Reilly. You can see the move from Haaland. It's a good save by Nick Pope.
I mean, it really is, because he doesn't hang about. It's into his stomach. So he's moving across that way. He's trying to react to get across. And Haaland shot into the stomach of the goalkeeper. Brilliant reaction from Nick Pope.
Can't believe it's 0-0.
Yeah, exactly. There's been so many chances in this game. It really could be 2-2. No problem here. 3-2. Pope, who has never kept a Premier League clean sheet against City in his career, he'd like to change that today. He takes the free kick here. Erling Haaland wins the header on the edge of the City penalty area. 0-0 it remains. 10 minutes to go to half time. Don't think it's going to stay 0-0. Here's Harvey Barnes, edge of the box. Well dealt with by Matheus Nunes. Barnes trying to trick, but Matheus Nunes kept his eye on the ball. Here's Lewis Hall, skips away from Cherki. Not for the first time today. Hall has dropped his shoulder and gone around an opponent. Fabian Schär, slightly heavy touch, so Haaland comes scampering across and makes the interception. Good work rate from Erling Haaland. He's not just a finisher down the other end. He's been working really hard defensively for City as well this season.
Top better play by Chow there. So cool under pressure against Doku.
Newcastle spray it out to the right hand side. Jacob Murphy, right wing, up against Nico O'Reilly. Gets it back again, now to the byline. O'Reilly back in position, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Then we talk about Nico O'Reilly as a real good prospect for England. Lewis Hall's got a chance, hasn't he? I mean, I know he hasn't played much this season, but what a player.
Well, I can tell you, because I looked it up. So Thomas Tuchel has used 5 different left backs in his games in charge of England, and Hall is one of those 5. This time last year, November 2024, Lewis Hall won 2 caps. What he's got to get is fit, because today he's only playing his second Premier League game since February. In the meantime, Nico O'Reilly's been able to play so many games and has caught the eye, but there's no doubt, you're right, given that he should be rusty here, Lewis Hall has been so sharp in this game.
He looks so good. Looks so good, bombing on from left back, gets forward, gets back, good in 1v1. Jules.
Today is Lewis Hall's 50th Premier League game for Newcastle. Jacob Murphy here, scampering away down the right hand side, tries to send it across. Gvardiol, who's had a very good game, makes the interception, and that goes out for a corner kick, the latest in a long run of attacking sequences of play in this entertaining game so far on 5 Live and at BBC Sounds.
It's on transition where Newcastle look really dangerous, and over big spaces Man City is struggling to live with them at the minute, especially down the sides of the pitch, getting crosses into the box.
So the Newcastle corner is going to come from the right hand side. It's been carefully placed in that little quadrant by the corner flag by Sandro Tonali. Most of his teammates are on the edge of the box here. They'll all run in though as he takes it, met by Matheus Nunes at the front post. Falls to Lewis Hall, who I did see score a goal from that exact situation at Old Trafford a few years ago, but this time he took a touch to kill it. He didn't fancy hitting it first time on the volley, and that first touch was soft, and Donnarumma.
He's got the ability to do it, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got the ability to do it.
Lewis Hall, who has only ever scored 1 Premier League goal for Newcastle. As the ball is out of play on the far side, and that is going to be possession for Manchester City. We mentioned North London derby tomorrow, which should be tasty. 4:30 on 5 Live. Out today on the Football Daily feed on BBC Sounds. The football interview features Arsenal's Bukayo Saka, so worth listening into that ahead of the big game tomorrow. Here is Josko Gvardiol, left full-back position for City, launches it up towards Erling Haaland. Feels like City have done that more often today than usual. Played it long to the Norwegian, and this time he's fouled by Fabian Schär. And I think Phil Foden sprinted across to make the point that Jonathan was trying to make, to say it's a yellow card, but the card stays in the pocket and Fabian Schär gets away with that one. Here's Doku, tries to run into the penalty area, good defending by Livramento. Newcastle should clear here, but Doku is so quick, gets in ahead of Tonali, but he can't hold on to possession. Voltemada, back to Tonali again, fouled by Nico O'Reilly, free kick to Newcastle.
Doku's the type of winger who keeps you up at night. You don't get much sleep when you're playing against him. You get zero sleep when you're playing against Doku. So quick, so agile. Real talented player.
It's the way he goes from the standing start, the explosiveness. He doesn't need any, he doesn't need even inches to get up to speed. He's full.
ABS brakes as well.
Exactly. That's it. It is. It's 0 to 100 and then it's stop and then it's go again. Incredible. This is Bernardo Silva nearly winning the ball for City just on the edge of the Newcastle penalty area, but Newcastle able to hammer it away. Voltamana wins a flick-on header, but Nico O'Reilly will pick up that for City, and he should be able to clear on the left-hand side here. He's confident, takes on Jacob Murphy. He was a bit weak there. Groans from the Newcastle fans. I think Jacob Murphy thought O'Reilly was going to clear it there. Didn't think he was going to try and dribble past him. Nico Gonzalez has it in the midfield for City. First half of plenty chances, but no goals yet. We're into the final 5 minutes of normal time. Ahead of the break, we'll be back to Mark Chapman over half-time to analyse the rest of the day's sporting news. Jeremy Doku here gives it to Nico Gonzalez. Into Phil Foden. Here is Erling Haaland. They're trying to dribble it in. It gets bogged down just on the edge of the box. There's too many defenders to go around. Nico Gonzalez looks for space. Gives it to Mateus Nunes on the right-hand side. Newcastle are full of concentration out of possession. They are working really hard to narrow the space for Manchester City when their opponents have the ball. City who want to narrow that gap on Arsenal, knowing that the gap can increase tomorrow if Arsenal beat Spurs. Foden lobs one over the top. Mateus Nunes, who I think was looking up to see where Haaland was, took his eye off the ball for an instant, and then he miscontrols it, and that goes out for a Newcastle throw away to our right hand side. Let's go back to the Rugby Union November Internationals. Ireland hosting South Africa in the Aviva in Dublin. Here's Chris Jones.
Ireland 0, South Africa 5, 21 minutes gone. It is all happening. Ireland have had a great spell, but they missed a kick, a regulation kick from Prendergast, hit the post, and then they scored through Tyburn, but it was ruled out, Connor, for an illegal clear from James Ryan. Not just a penalty, a yellow card as well, an off-field review. So it could have been an Ireland try. Instead, Ireland are a man down. 21 minutes gone, and South Africa still lead through that Willemse try. Ireland 0, South Africa 5, halfway through this captivating first half.
Thanks very much, Chris. Commentary continues on Sports Extra. Foden's got a chance here for Manchester City. Haaland's ahead of him. Cherki to his right. Cherki back to Foden, wide. Oh, normally those end up tucked in the bottom corner. He's inside the penalty area, Phil Foden. He opens his body like a sail. We've seen this technique countless times in the past. Normally, it's a little side foot into the bottom corner. This one goes agonisingly wide for Phil Foden.
Another massive chance. It was the pass from Ruben Diaz, who took about 5 men out the game, into Foden. Received it on the back foot. Played it wide. I think it was to Cherki. And then he's got to score. A little pull back. Foden, you're expecting it to hit the back of the net. Another massive chance. How many massive chances have we had in the game, Connor?
It is incredible. Highlights of this game on Match of the Day tonight. There'll be no goals to show in the first half so far, but there will be plenty of action to cram in there. Brilliant pass from Ruben Diaz to set all of that in motion. As Joe Linton jumps and wins a header. Cherki tries to get possession, swarmed upon by hungry Newcastle players. Harvey Barnes slides in on Foden. Here's big Joe Linton, turns under pressure and rolls it back to Fabian Schär. Earlier on today in the rugby, Wales were beaten by New Zealand, who ran in 7 tries. There were 2 more Autumn International commentaries on Sports Extra tomorrow. You can listen to Scotland against Tonga at 1:40, and then it's England against Argentina, which gets underway just after 4 p.m. Both those games on Sports Extra tomorrow. Here's Nico Gonzalez from Manchester City. This is the Premier League on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. And Ruben Diaz has the centre circle to himself, but a very congested half of the field lies in front of him with all his outfield Manchester City colleagues and all of the Newcastle players. Foden drops deep, and it has been a deeper position lately for Foden in the team since Cherki has come in to be a regular starter. Bit more space on the left-hand side here for Jeremy Doku, running at Jacob Murphy, easily past him, low ball in, Haaland sort of flicking him with the outside of the boot, and it lands on the roof of the net. Still 0-0.
Yeah, they're still looking to try and find the pockets of space. They can't find them. You know what? Newcastle are defending really well, stubborn in the defensive actions, you'd say, really being compacted between the lines. Man City trying to move it. Need to try and move it a little bit quicker to get in between the lines.
Newcastle 0, Manchester City 0. Nick Pope wearing all purple today. 5 Premier League clean sheets this season. Only David Raya has more than that. He was subbed off, you might remember, with concussion against Brentford last time out. Quite fortunate with the timing there of the international break for Nick Pope, that it didn't mean that it would miss a Premier League game. Aaron Ramsdale came on in that match. Ramsdale, the former Arsenal keeper, is on the bench today. But Nick Pope, pass fit to make the 350th appearance of his senior club career. Here's Bernardo Silva, midway inside Manchester City territory. And we are about to see the fourth official raise the board to tell us what's going to be added on for stoppages here ahead of the break on 5 Live. Haaland gets possession inside the Newcastle half. Turns Fabian Schär, lays it off to Nico Gonzalez. Looked like it might have been a foul, and it was. Foul by Bruno Guimaraes, free kick as we move into 2 minutes, which are being added on for stoppages here. And we mentioned earlier on that Livramento was hobbling. He still doesn't look comfortable, Jonathan.
He just had a sprint there as well. He was chasing Doku. It doesn't look too clever, to be honest, Connor, when you see him. Keeps on limping a bit, hobbling. It's close enough to half time, so they'll wait till they get him in at half time and have a look at him.
So 2 minutes to be added on. First half that has flown by, absolute flurry of chances in the game. It's been very entertaining stuff, really. You think back through the game, the Voltemada header, then the Voltemada shot, that was the really big one. Then the Harvey Barnes was the glorious chance for Newcastle. Haaland's had a couple of attempts, one when the goalkeeper to come storming out of the penalty area. Haaland tried to shoot from distance and put it wide. Foden's had probably the best chance. Although I say that, Joe, there was the Haaland chance which was straight at the keepers. I mean, there's been so many here, it's difficult to keep up, but somehow the game is still at 0-0.
Yeah, I'd say that 2 chances Voldemar had, the 1 chance Barnes, the 2 chances Haaland, the 1 chance Foden, are all really, really good opportunities.
Really good chances, yeah.
Especially with a calibre of player.
Murphy tips one over the top here. Mateus Nunes, stooping header just in front of Harvey Barnes to cushion it back to Gianluigi Donnarumma, the Italian who will be playing against Northern Ireland in the World Cup playoff semi-finals in March. Drops the ball, scans the horizon, no real urgency, realising that the first half is about to come to a halt here. Newcastle have only had 1 win in the last 36 Premier League games against City. It's a run that stretches back some 20 years. It's been a very difficult opponent for them, and yet Newcastle have probably had the better of this first half here so far. Lewis Hall prepares to take the throw back into his own half to Fabian Schär. Cherki runs to put a bit of pressure on. Schär gives it back to Nick Pope, and there is the whistle for half time. So we're not quite sure how, but 0-0 it is, and I think Eddie Howe will feel in this team talk he's about to deliver, Jonathan Woodgate, that there is much for Newcastle to achieve here in the second half if they can really throw everything at City now.
Yeah, I think it's anyone's game. I really do. I think Newcastle had some great chances, but so have City. This game could go either way. The first goal's massive, as the same football, but especially in this game, whoever gets the first one could win by 2 or 3.
The only teams to have won away here this season have been Liverpool and Arsenal in the Premier League and Barcelona in the Champions League. It's only that the top teams that have been able to win here. This has been a determined performance so far, and yet we know at Manchester City they only need half a chance and it can be all the difference. For now though, at St James's Park, it's Newcastle United 0, Manchester City 0.
Thank you. Earlier on in the Premier League, Burnley 0, Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2, West Ham 2. Brighton went 5th with a 2-1 win over Brentford. Brentford missed a late penalty in that game. Fulham beat Sunderland by a 1-0. Huge win for Nottingham Forest, 3-0 at Anfield against Liverpool. Crystal Palace have gone 4th this evening with a 2-0 win at bottom of the table, Wolves. Rob Edwards' first game in charge of the home club ending in defeat. Plenty to talk to on 606 08085 909 693. All the goals on the iPlayer from 8 o'clock. Extended highlights and in-depth analysis. Wayne Rooney and Rob Green on Match of the Day 10:20 tonight on BBC One. In the Championship, Coventry have a 7-point lead at the top of the table. They came from 2-0 down to beat 10-man West Brom 3-2. Middlesbrough could only draw at Oxford. Third place Stoke were beaten at Leicester. Southampton had the day's most impressive win, 5-1 at Charlton. All those goals in the first half. Plymouth moved off the bottom of League One with a 1-0 win at Port Vale. Cardiff are the new leaders of that division. They won 3-1 at Northampton. The morning's leaders, Lincoln, beaten 3-2 at Wickham. Walsall have gone top of League Two after they won at Harrogate, and Swindon could only draw with Grimsby. That defeat for Harrogate drops them into the bottom two alongside Newport. Livingston stay bottom of the Scottish Premiership after a 2-1 defeat at Rangers. St Mirren against Celtic gets underway at 8 o'clock. Leaders Hearts play tomorrow. In the Autumn Rugby Union International, South Africa currently lead Ireland 5-0. That is on Sports Extra if you want to listen to that. Earlier, Wales beaten 52-26 at home by New Zealand. Reaction to the day's sport to come. It's 6:20. First, Jill Mackenzie.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Sir Keir Starmer's spoken to President Trump on the phone, and Downing Street says their teams will work together on the US drafted peace proposal for Ukraine. The Prime Minister and other allies have raised concerns about making Kyiv limit its armed forces and give up territory. A deal's finally been agreed at the UN COP30 climate talks in Brazil, but with no explicit mention of fossil fuels. The wording was removed after a bitter row with oil-rich nations. The Hamas-run civil defence agency says at least 21 Palestinians have been killed in new Israeli airstrikes on Gaza. Israel's military said a gunman had crossed into Israeli-held territory in Gaza. And two of Britain's biggest newspapers could soon be owned by the same company after the publisher of the Daily Mail agreed to pay £500 million to buy the Daily Telegraph. The government says it'll review any new buyer.
My name's Steve Bracknell, assistant manager at Royal Oak FC. You may have seen me online going viral. Viral sensation. And now the BBC have given me the chance to set the footballing world back to rights.
This could be a great opportunity for us, lads, a podcast for the BBC.
Can I just say, what's a podcast?
Brilliant. Great start. Well done, Bob. Brilliant. We completely show utter transparency to Royal Oak fans. I'll use me charm. Gift it, Gab. Game's gone. The Steve Bracknell podcast. Watch on YouTube. Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Got just over 10 minutes to half-time in Dublin. Chris Jones.
Here, Mark. Ireland 0, South Africa 5. As you say, half an hour gone, but the Boks are pressing. They've got a penalty only 5 metres out. They'll kick to the corner, go to the more, one of their super strengths, and Donncha O'Callaghan, former Ireland and Lions lock. They've had a 20-minute red card from that James Ryan clear, which happened just before they scored a try that was then ruled out.
Yeah, absolutely, and led to a massive momentum swing. We're seeing all aspects of play here from this South African team. Their first try from Damian Willemsen, an incredible bit of skill, incredible play, but now we're seeing the set-piece battle that South Africans love. A 5-metre scrum, and you can see they're licking their lips that they want a pushover try here and to push out the scoreboard yet again.
Yeah, they've chosen, Mark, to go for the scrum rather than the penalty. Listen to the noise around Dublin. It's only 5 points in the scoreboard, but the Boks are sniffing Irish blood here. Ireland 0, South Africa 5. South Africa scrum 5 metres out, 9 to go till the break.
Sports Extra, if you want to listen to that. Let's give you some reaction to the day's Premier League football. Liverpool beaten 3-0 at home by Nottingham Forest, a win that takes Forest out of the bottom 3. We had Sean Dyche live on Sports Report earlier. Here are the thoughts of Arne Slot.
What is wrong at the moment is when you talk about today, I think the first half hour there wasn't that many things that were wrong. Players were at it, played in a high rhythm, high tempo, were able to create chances against the defensively really strong team. And for me it felt it was waiting for us to score the first goal. But yeah, if you don't do this, and then you can see the set piece, and it tells you also how much a goal can change the momentum and can change the game, because the hour afterwards we were not able to create the chances we were able to create in the first half hour.
And clearly in your entire career you've not had many sticky moments as a coach and as a manager. I just wonder, when you do go through these spells, what is your go-to? Is it sort of back to basics? Is that sort of keep a clean sheet first and build from there? Or is it something different?
Yeah, of course you always prefer to keep a clean sheet, because then you've got the biggest chance to win a game of football. And I think that's what we did very well in the first half hour. We were just constantly trying, pushing without giving away a lot. But yeah, if you go a goal down, if you go 2 goals down, you need to take a little bit of more risk, like you said, with the first substitution, with the second substitution. And sometimes this leads to a goal, and we all know if it leads to a goal, what can happen here at Anfield. But now it did lead to a goal, but not for us, for them. And we have to accept that, and I take full responsibility for that.
Wolves still very much adrift at the bottom of the table, beaten 2-0 at home by Crystal Palace in Rob Edwards' first match in charge. And afterwards, he spoke to Pat Murphy, who is retiring today after 51 years here at the BBC.
Rob, how much do you think you learned from this game?
Would have learnt a lot. I think, my feelings at the time, like everyone's, we're all emotional and we'll see the result and we'll all think, not good enough. But there'll be things there that were good today and there'll be areas that we know we need to fix. And again, that's why I'm here. I haven't got a magic wand, unfortunately. That's been proven today. But what we've got to do now is work really hard, focus on the areas that we've got to improve quickly, and then try and find that belief.
The stats are against you at the moment. History, etc., etc. Is always there to be broken, history, isn't it? Does that inspire you?
It does. I'm up for the challenge, and I said that yesterday. That's why I'm here. I love this football club, and I knew what we were coming into, coming out of a winning environment into a losing one at the moment. That's, to be frank, we know it's a huge task, and no one's ever done it before from this position. So it's a big, big challenge for us. But also, this is a long-term thing as well, and I'm here for the long term, and I'm here to help the football club, and I'm here to work extremely hard for this football club as well.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Oh, I know you announced your retirement, didn't you, as well?
This is it. This is my farewell, my last interview.
Congratulations on
Thanks,
an amazing career, and I wish you all the best as well.
Thank you. Well, 51 years.
It's incredible. It's amazing.
Cricketers get benefits. How come broadcasters don't get benefit years? Anyway.
Well done on an amazing career.
Thank you,
Rob. Very, very proud.
Very, very nice. Pat retiring then today after 51 years, done so much cricket coverage, so much football coverage, 44 years at Radio Sport. And that is him done on Sports Report, and that was his final interview. Lovely words from Rob Edwards as well. Thank you for everything, Pat. Bournemouth came from 2 down to win a 2-2 draw with West Ham. Callum Wilson scored twice for West Ham in the first half against his old club.
In the end, it's probably a fair result, and we'd be lucky if it wasn't for Alfonso. We could have come away with nothing. So I think you take the positives, you take the point. It's a tough place to come, as I know, and then and you move on to next week.
Can you talk me through your 2 goals? Both really well taken. Second, absolutely top class.
Yeah, I think the first one, chested it inside from a long ball, and when it's opened up, it was almost too inviting not to shoot. Thankfully, I did that, ended up in the back of the net, and then the second was a little bit more instinctive, but I kind of felt the defender push me on the one side, so I knew that if I chested it inside, I'd have an opportunity to get a shot away, which is what I did, try and do it so quickly. I think in the first few minutes I heard a few boos when I was receiving the ball, so it fired me up a little bit to go and score a goal. And then when I did, I was debating whether to celebrate or not. But I mean, when I come off, obviously fans singing your name, it's a nice feeling because we shared some good memories together in this club.
And him being substituted arguably changed the course of the game as West Ham were 2-0 up at that stage. The point takes West Ham out of the relegation zone on goal difference from Leeds. Leeds play tomorrow. To Brighton next, they're in 5th. They won 2-1 against Brentford. Brentford missing a late penalty. Fabian Hertzler was watching from the stands after being suspended, but he made history today. He was the youngest manager to reach 50 Premier League games.
It's not important how it was for me. I think the most important is how my assistant coaches, how the staff, how the players, how they performed on the pitch, on the sideline, how they supported each other. And it was just impressive. So congrats to them, and well done how they reacted in the second half, how they faced adversity and how they stick together.
But even at 70 minutes, could you see what happened coming?
I think we were a much better team. So through the whole game, of course, we didn't create that many chances. But in the end, we had the right momentum on our side. And in the right moments, we scored the goals. We weren't that precise in possession, not that structured like we wanted to be in the first half. But I think we reacted well in the second half. We stabilized us. We were good out of possession, and although we always have to believe that we can score goals, we always have to believe that we can turn the game around, and that's what we showed another time.
Chelsea beat Burnley 2-0. Fulham beat Sunderland 1-0. All the extended highlights in the analysis match the day 10:20 tonight with Rob Green and Wayne Rooney. In the day's racing, the odds-on favourite Grey Dawning beat 2-time winner Royal Pagaille to win the Betfair Chase at Haydock. Royal Pagaille led until the final fence, and then Grey Dawning came through to take the victory. So that's a reverse of the result from 12 months ago. And the day started, sports-wise, with a crushing defeat for England, beaten by 8 wickets inside 2 days at Perth, thanks to Travis Head hitting a brilliant century when he came out to open for Australia. Here are the thoughts of Ben Stokes.
Yeah, she's probably shell-shocked a little bit, wide-eyed after that. I mean, that was pretty insane out there watching what unfolded, in particular after how, you know, the first day and even, you know, our third innings there with the bat, to watch a bloke come out and then smack a 70-ball 100 in a low-scoring game was, had to, you know, settle in with plans, and, you know, when he feels like he's knocking you off everything and you're looking up and the runs are coming down quickly. So, we went 3 or 4 different ways there, and it was some not to watch.
Yeah. What about some of England's dismissals, Ben, the batting? Are you happy with the form that England's batsmen are in? Are you the way that a number of wickets fell looked soft?
Well, look at how the runs were scored on there, Aggers. The guys who had success were the ones who were really putting the bowlers under pressure and knocking them off their line and lengths. 2 of the best batters three of the best batters in the world, Joe Root, Marnus, Steve Smith, in particular in that first innings. You know, if Steve Smith, Marnus, Labuschagne can't lay a bat on the ball, you know it's a pretty tricky wicket. So, tough one. But look, nice long break. We'll let this hurt because it does, we got to get over this and get back training hard as we always do, and then get ourselves to Brisbane and come away with the result we want there.
Plenty of reaction and analysis on the TMS podcast, which you can download from BBC Sounds now. So no cricket through the night for the next 3 nights. But overnight tonight, we still have plenty of live sport here on 5 Live. Commentary from Riyadh in the boxing. Anthony Yard fighting for the light heavyweight world title. So that will be from around 2 a.m. here on 5 Live. And then the Las Vegas Grand Prix from 3:30 a.m. with Lando Norris on pole. So that's the live sport through the night. On Sports Extra right now, you've got Ireland, South Africa with Chris Jones.
5 minutes to go until half-time mark, and Ireland have conceded again. South Africa's second try, Cobus Reinach, the number 9. When you've got all of these big ball carriers and these wonderful wingers for South Africa, the number 9 just saw a gap and just glided through it. The Boks have their tails up here. Ireland are down to 13. James Ryan's yellow card upgraded to a 20-minute red card. Sam Prendergast has gone to the bin as well. So Ireland are on the rack with 4.5 minutes to go this first half. They have a penalty which will relieve some pressure, and the fans know they need to get behind their team here. Ireland 0, South Africa 12, edging towards half-time.
Goalless first half at St James's Park. Somehow, surely someone will find the back of the net in the second half. Here are Jonathan Woodgate and Conor McNamara.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. Both teams back out here ahead of the second half. There was, according to what the statisticians call these days big chances, that was the highest XG that there's been in a Premier League game without a goal since such records began some 15 years ago. So, that is a lot of chances. They reckon 4 big chances for Newcastle, 3 big chances for City, and surprisingly it is still 0-0. Game back underway, no changes. Harvey Barnes tries to send in a low cross. It deflects off a defender the first corner of the second half. But if those opening seconds are anything to go by, Jonathan, we're going to pick up where we left off.
Well, let's hope so, because it's been an exciting game, barring no goals, but there's been chances. There's been some good play from a lot of the top players on shore. Just the final bit, put it into the back of the net.
No surprise that there's no changes. I mean, both teams creating so many chances. There's no reason for either coach to feel they would have to adjust things. It feels when rather than if that the opening goal will arrive. Newcastle fans would love it to be right now. Corner, Tonali swings it in, missed at the front post, flashes through a host of bodies and squirts out for a goal kick. Any touch from anyone, that could have been 1-0.
I thought there was going to be a touch on that from Valdemar. I thought there was just going to be a little glancing in, or someone round the back post. There was no one there. Could have been a tap in. It was an excellent ball in, drifted in.
And Newcastle have 12 points from their 11 Premier League games this season before today. It is their fewest at this stage of a campaign in the 4 seasons that Eddie Howe has been in charge. Newcastle with just 3 wins, and this feels like one of those narrow margin ones. You know, this could end up a Newcastle win, this could end up a Newcastle defeat. If they could win this, it really could be a big turning point of the season. Jeremy Doku has gone down, and he claims he's been fouled by Livramento there. No free kick given. Doku getting back to his feet, holding his face. He's definitely implying that he was struck in the face there. This is Malik Chow for Newcastle. Stabs the ball to the near touchline to Livramento. It was all a backspin on the way that pass was played, and Livramento wasn't able to control it. Ball goes out of play for a throw-in to City, taken by Nico O'Reilly, up to Jeremy Doku. Both he and Livramento pulling at each other's shirts. Jacob Murphy comes across. Doku goes down again, claiming he was fouled again. Referee says no.
He's done well there, Murphy. Doubling up with Livramento. That's what you need against Doku.
Poor pass by Chow that time. Doku picked it up, trying to give it infield to Bernardo Silva, but another pass goes astray, and Newcastle are able to clear the ball away. A reminder of how the teams line up. Nick Pope in goal for Newcastle. Back four, Livramento, Chow, Scher and Hall. 3 of those back 4 are changes today. Midfield is Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali and Joe Linton. And the front 3, Jacob Murphy, Nick Voltemada and Harvey Barnes. Barnes has had the best chance of the game and really should have scored. City's team, Donnarumma in goal. Mateus Nunes, Diaz, Gvardiol and O'Reilly are their defence. Bernardo Silva, Nico Gonzalez, Phil Foden in midfield, and then Riyad Cherki and Jeremy Doku playing off Erling Haaland. Here is Jeremy Doku rolling it in front of Haaland. This is dangerous now. Chow is close to him. Haaland tries to take him on, and he stopped one-on-one. Malik Chow didn't buy the dummy there, and he kept his eye on the ball, and he tackled Erling Haaland, and that brought a huge roar, understandably, for the Newcastle fans.
Outstanding bit of defending. You just thought Haaland was going to go down his right-hand side. Chow just comes across, watches it well, moves his feet well, his side on, great body position, extremely well timed. Didn't dive in, just waited. Lovely tackle, but the move before that, I get Haaland, where they played through the centre of the pitch, was outstanding.
Yes, good build-up from City, even better defending from Newcastle. Here's Bernardo Silva, shooting position, and he puts it over the top. And this game that is screaming out for a goal somehow remains 0-0. Bernardo Silva hitting that ever so slightly too firmly and sending it over the crossbar from inside the penalty area. So often we see those nestle into the far corner, but it fizzed over the top. Actually, on the replay, it's even closer than I thought in real life. Yeah. Wow. So add that to the number of big chances in the game so far. Just coming back to when Haaland took on Malik Chow there. I mean, you know a lot more about this than me, Jonathan, but it felt like Chow sort of had both sides covered. If Haaland went left or right, he wasn't showing him either side. He was blocking both sides. It was great body shape.
He has to show him to his right hand side first of all, and then when Haaland makes the move further outside, then he can go and engage, and that's what he did exceptionally well.
Yeah, really made it difficult for Erling Haaland there, who, as we know, often just brushes defenders aside in that kind of one-on-one situation. Right, goal kick to Newcastle, away to our left-hand side. City, who've been the top scorers in the Premier League this season, coming into this weekend, more goals than anyone else in the top flight, and they'll be disappointed not to be on the score sheet yet today, but Pep Guardiola will be especially pleased that his team haven't conceded, given the quality of chances that Newcastle have been able to drum up here. Pep Guardiola, who's only ever lost 1 Premier League game against Newcastle. That was back in 2019 when Rafa Benitez was in charge here. But that's been the only time. He's had an excellent record against Newcastle during his tenure in England. Pope has possession. Just for a moment there was bright purple advertising boardings around the pitch. They always change, but it completely matched the colours of Pope's shirt. He almost disappeared into the advertising hoardings there. As the ball is played forward by Mateus Nunes, that will bounce out of play for a throw into Newcastle, left full-back position for them. Just a reminder, coming up tomorrow, Leeds against Aston Villa at 2 o'clock. It'll be followed by the North London derby. You can hear all of the Las Vegas Grand Prix on 5 Live overnight from 4 a.m. And Champions League commentaries wall to wall next week. 5 Live will bring you Chelsea against Barcelona on Tuesday. You can listen to Manchester City against Bayer Leverkusen on Sports Extra. On Wednesday, another big game, Arsenal against Bayern Munich. That's on 5 Live from 8. Or the choice of Paris Saint-Germain against Spurs on Sports Extra. Mateus Nunes gives the ball to Nico Gonzalez here in the midfield. City playing from right to left as we look down here. 0-0 in the early stages of the second period. O'Reilly, tall, slender frame, into the much smaller stature of Phil Foden. Another small stature player, Jeremy Doku, is challenged from behind by Tonali, and that is a foul and a free kick to Manchester City, and a chance for for City to push some big bodies into the box once again.
He's been causing them problems all game, Doku, not by staying out wide like he normally does and attacks his fullback, by coming inside the pitch, letting Nico Riley go high on the left hand side, and he's just getting in and around Tonali and off the back of him, and he's causing real problems for them.
6:06 coming up from 7:30 once this game reaches its conclusion on 5 Live. Aaron Paul and Clinton Morrison taking your calls this evening. The lines are now open. 08085 909 693. That is 08085 909 693. So much to discuss up and down the football spectrum today, starting at the very top of it with the reigning Premier League holders and the real muddle and mess that Arne Slot has got into. I mean, I was wondering, has a reigning Premier League manager ever been under so much pressure since Claudio Ranieri, actually, when you think about it? And I'm sure there'll be many hot takes on that topic to discuss with Aaron and Clinton at 7:30, but also Chelsea moving up to second place today. What a win it was for Nottingham Forest. That shouldn't be lost in the Liverpool story. And poor old Wolves remaining bottom of the pile despite Rob Edwards' arrival. City playing into the penalty area here. Cleared away, Mateus Nunes. Centre of the park, tries to ping it out to the left wing towards Jeremy Doku, controls in his right instep, but he was offside. Doku, as the pass was played, he was offside. Flag is raised from Nick Greenhalgh. That's a free kick to Newcastle, right full-back position for them. 0-0, staggeringly it remains in this game of so many chances. Just to remind us of the other scores today, Bournemouth came from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 at home against West Ham. Brighton were behind at home to Brentford, but they came back to win 2-1. There was a late winner for Raúl Jiménez as Fulham beat Sunderland. Crystal Palace moving up into the top 4 when they beat Wolves at Molineux by 2-0. You can watch the highlights of all of today's games. Match of the day from 10:20 on BBC One. This is 5 Live. This is St James's Park. And this is a game that could still go either way as Newcastle punted forward. Tonali goes in pursuit up against Josko Gvardiol, who, Gvardiol, he may not be the tallest, he may not be the broadest, but I don't think there's many Premier League players would beat him in an arm wrestle. He is strong as an ox.
He's strong. He's dominant in the air as well. Well, he can be when he gets his body into good positions. He really puts his body into an area which forwards don't like. He gets in about them. He's difficult to play against as a centre forward.
Absolutely. This is Nico Gonzalez, neat and tidy, still filling the Rodri role for City today. As Ryan Cherki turns and executes a pass to Bernardo Silva. City really swarming over the halfway line. Look at this, a huge surge of blue shirts. Mateus Nunes down the right, sent in the low cross, important interception by Fabian Schär, because Haaland was ready to lurk in behind and Schär puts it out for a throw-in. That was impressive, the speed in which City counter-attacked there.
Yeah, you talked about City counter-attacking really quick, but equally Newcastle got back quickly in numbers, and that's why Schär.
Here's Cherki to the byline, pulling it back but into the gloves of Nick Pope, alertly stepping off his goal line to gather the ball there. Newcastle have done well defensively against City today. Good ball through the midfield though here to pick out Harvey Barnes. He'll lay it off to Jacob Murphy. Newcastle over the halfway line. City now the ones who've got to work hard to get back into position. Bruno Guimaraes with number 39 on his back comes forward, rolls the ball in front of Ultimata, but very well intercepted by Ruben Diaz, who didn't even have to quicken his pace there. His positioning was so good, it was almost like the pass was played to him.
How good is Tonali? How good is Tonali? Every blade of grass he covers. Good on the ball, tenacious, wants to get on the ball, wants to take responsibility for his team.
Still so young as well, Tonali. He's only 25. I mean, you look at him, you see the career he's already had. You'd expect him to be 30 by now. As the ball is played back by Schär to Nick Pope, and this game is still on a tightrope. Really could go either way. Header on from Livramento was good, but Murphy had strayed offside. Free kick to City, 10 yards inside their own half. This game, which finished 1-1 here last season, 0-0 for now. 3 Scottish teams in European action on Thursday coming up, all available to listen on BBC Sounds, by the way. 5:45 on Sports Extra, Europa League Feyenoord against Celtic. That's followed by Rangers against Braga at 8. And on Sports Extra 2 from 8 o'clock, you can listen to Aberdeen against Noah. That one is in the Conference League. So we've got it all covered this week with the 4 Champions League commentaries and the Scottish teams in action in the Europa and Conference Leagues. Livramento's about to take a throw in here for Newcastle, right full-back position. For him, it's his 7th Premier League appearance of the season, but his first since September. Only turned 23 earlier on this month, Tino Livramento. As Jacob Murphy seemed to be clattered from behind by Jeremy Doku there. Doku appeals that he won the ball. The referee has given a throw in. Newcastle are taking their time over that. The quite animated Pep Guardiola is out of his technical area briefly there, trying to bellow on the instructions and pointing and gesticulating and trying to get his point across here. And you get the feeling that the longer this game stays at 0-0, the more Guardiola is going to be that cat on a hot tin roof. He's just going to get more and more agitated here. Fabian Schär rolls the ball over to Lewis Hall on the left-hand side. Given that both teams have had so many clear-cut chances, whoever does take the lead here, assuming it does happen, that's going to feel like such a breakthrough. Here's Bernardo Silva, another good ball through the lines for City. Doku stretches though can't control, and Malik Chow again wins the ball back for Newcastle and sets them in motion. Joe Linton keeps it moving. Over to Jacob Murphy on the right-hand side. Nico Riley gets in, good and goes. What a ball! Voltemata!
Oh my
straight
word.
to the keeper again and saved by Donnarumma. It's another glorious chance. And this time at the Gallagher end, he's got to put that one away as well.
What a ball by Murphy. What a ball. Side foot. Like a side foot half volley. What a ball, and it's again. Voldemata's got to score. The linesman said offside. I don't think he was offside. It is in line. He's got to score. He's got to do better. Put in the coin for the corners.
Well, it wouldn't have counted anyway. The flag going up, but. Voltemata, right-footed, goal at his mercy. Donnarumma will claim it as a save, but it is straight at him from there. 0-0, it staggeringly remains. This is 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Rayad Cherki near the halfway line, gives it out to Bernardo Silva. Hush now descends over the stadium a little bit as City have possession of the midfield. Phil Foden, halfway line to the near touchline, City's left, and Nico O'Reilly. Doku makes a run in front of him, but it's back into Foden in the midfield. Gonzalez sweeps away from Voltemata to receive the pass. Helps it on to Mateus Nunes on the right-hand side. City midway inside Newcastle territory now. Nico Gonzalez back to Ruben Diaz. Near side once again, and Guardiola, he's pointing where he wants teammates to run. Here's Jeremy Doku. A chance to canter here at Livramento. Back to Foden. Little bit of space into the area towards Haaland, gets up, header on target, saved by Nick Pope. Headed down into the crowd, which took some of the sting out of it, but good delivery there to pick out Haaland from Phil Foden.
Schär just did enough, just made it difficult for Haaland to really get his elevation, but as a defender you can't always win it, so you have to make it tough for your centre forward.
Newcastle United 0, Manchester City 0. Don't forget you can take our live commentary with you on the BBC Sounds app. You can pause, rewind, play back any big moment. Tonali and Murphy between them bring down Jeremy Doku. It's a free kick to Manchester City, 15 yards inside the Newcastle half. Just looking back over to check my notes, but I don't think we've had a yellow card in the game, have we? It's been a game full of feisty challenges, loads of free kicks, but referee's kept his cards in his pocket so far.
That's what you want, Connor. You want the game to keep on flowing. That's where you get the atmosphere from. Makes the game.
City in possession. Nico Gonzalez. City hoping to continue this storming run they've been on, as they have reached half-time in Dublin at the Aviva Stadium. Ireland taking on South Africa in rugby union. Here's correspondent Chris Jones.
Well, Connie, you said you've not had a yellow card. We have had loads here. Ireland will start the second half down to 12. They trail 19-7 as South Africa have turned on the power in Dublin, scoring a penalty try from their dominant scrum on the half-time whistle. But 3 men going into the bin: Prendergast, Crowley and Porter, and that 20-minute red card for James Ryan. So Ireland are under pressure like they've never been under before, really. They did manage to score with 13 men. A brilliant try by Dan Sheehan that sent the Aviva Stadium mad, but the box, as they do, hit right back. It's a slightly stunned Dublin. Ireland 7, South Africa 19.
Thanks very much, Chris, and you can listen to Chris for second half commentary from Dublin on Sports Extra. Don't forget, tomorrow Scotland against Tonga is a 1:40 start on Sports Extra, and you can listen to England against Argentina. That begins at 4:10. Here at St James's Park, we haven't missed any live action. Newcastle 0, Manchester City 0. 61 minutes on the clock now. Bernardo Silva has possession on the halfway line, sends it over to Jeremy Doku, who's on the left wing for City. takes on Livramento. A few boos for Doku, who Newcastle fans have felt has gone down a bit easily in this second half. Nico Gonzalez, who scored from the edge of the penalty area against Liverpool 2 weeks ago, doesn't have the space to try a shot there, but it was a similar position. Here is Josko Guardiol to the feet of Nico O'Reilly, back out to Doku on the left. There's the boos for the Belgian. This is intricate from City, and Newcastle know they need full concentration here. City like a master thief here, trying to pick a lock here. They're just delicately prizing each little tongue and seeing if anything shifts a little bit, if they get closer or move a bit further away. This is Bernardo Silva. Ball motionless at his feet, gives it low to the feet of Nico Gonzalez, onto Ryan Cherki, and eventually a touch for Newcastle as Scher tries to get it away, but all he could do is return it to a sky blue shirt. City come again. Cherki, Foden, allowed to turn. Here's a chance, but again he can't keep it down. That's been a problem for City today. Similar to Bernardo Silva earlier. Phil Foden puts it too high.
Yeah, it's again Phil Foden just receiving it in the pocket from a pass from Cherki. Just threaded it in between Joe Linton and Bruno. Again, doesn't hit the target. Foden, expect a bit better from him, but do you know when you're watching Phil Foden, you just watch him in a game, and I'm taking 10 seconds to watch him, constantly checking his shoulders, constantly, he's on the swivel, he's looking what's behind him, what's in front of him, what's to the side, trying to see the full picture.
Well, the Voltemata chance, which was a really good one but was ruled offside at the time, that one doesn't count if it was offside. The last 7 shots of the game now have all come from Manchester City. Pep Guardiola will take that as encouragement that his team are beginning to swing the tide. Newcastle with a dominant force in the first half. Here comes Bruno Guimaraes though. Good surge to the edge of the area. Harvey Barnes! That's the goal for Newcastle! Stuck into the bottom corner! Harvey Barnes scores in a second Premier League game in a row, and against the run of play, Eddie Howe's team take the lead on a day when Liverpool have been beaten in the top flight and Arsenal play tomorrow. Manchester City find themselves behind. It's Newcastle United 1, Manchester City 0. It's Harvey Barnes.
It's an unbelievable finish by Harvey Barnes, but it's the work from Bruno, who just takes it on his right foot, feeds in the Barnes, and he just drills it in the bottom corner. It's an exceptional finish. He is a good finisher, but this is a top finish from the edge of the box. Takes it well on his right foot into the far corner. Donnarumma, not a chance, he saves that.
Well, we said a few minutes ago, in a game like this, when they've both had so many chances, there would be an extra seasoning, an extra flavour for whoever would hit the back of the net first. And listen to that Newcastle roar of approval on this cold night at St James's Park. Manchester City are now seriously regretting some of their near chances. Think of that Foden miss, fractionally wide at the end of the first half. But now Newcastle in front.
Against the run of play as well. You just said previous to that, Connor, that Man City had the last 7 shots. Well, that just shows what Man City can be like. Sometimes they can be in full control and someone falls asleep at the back, or it's a bad clearance, and that's what Newcastle are about. Transitions, and they really can kill you on transitions, and they just did that there with Harvey Barnes.
Harvey Barnes, who scored his first Premier League goal of the season against Brentford, now gets what is his 5th in all competitions for the season. This is just what Eddie Howe would have wanted. Newcastle for the first time have something to build on now, something to defend. And the whole mood here, the body, like Haaland's trying to drum up positivity, sort of applauding his teammates, but he can see in their eyes the doubt beginning to creep in, because moments like this is when all of Newcastle players all seem to grow about 2 inches taller. The belief swells within them. They've only had 3 Premier League wins all season, Newcastle. The 4th is very much overdue. Yet Pep Guardiola will look up at the big stadium clock and see there's plenty time to go. We've over a quarter of this match to play, but Newcastle leading City.
And they have been very good defensively as well, Newcastle. In the units with the 4-5-1, they've been compact. City can't always get through them unless it's an exceptional bit of play.
Here comes Jeremy Doku. City looking for an instant response. Tonali once again makes the interception. He's worked like a warrior today. Tries to clear a short pass to Murphy when maybe a more firm clearance was required there. Newcastle lose possession inside their final third. Bernardo Silva has it here, playing quarterback, weighing up the options, surveying the scene. Can't see anything he likes ahead of him, so gives it back to Josko Gvardiol behind. Now to Doku on the left wing. Doku tries to take on Tonali, flashes in a low cross, looking for Haaland, and it's put out by Malik Chow for a corner kick. Corner to City, who trailed by a goal to nil on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Now this is the 7th time that Newcastle have scored first in a Premier League game this season. Before today they had lost 3 out of the 6. Half the games they had taken the lead in, not just drawing, they'd end up losing. So Eddie Howe won't be counting any chickens just yet. Corner comes in high. Voltemano wins the header. Taken down onto the deck again by Jeremy Doku. Great reverse cross in. Haaland tries to jump. Cherki, who taken the corner, tries to shoot in a shot. Comes to Ruben Diaz and he shoots it through and it's in. And Ruben Diaz scores against Newcastle. It's his first Premier League goal since he scored here 4 seasons ago. It surely takes a few deflections on the way in, but Ruben Diaz won't mind that. And Newcastle's lead lasted, barely 3-4 minutes. Ruben Diaz makes it Newcastle 1, City 1.
Yeah, it's some reply from Man City with Diaz. Ball in the box corner. Doku gets it, crosses it back in, lands to Diaz. Gets a few deflections, but you'll take them, and it's a great reaction. Tell you what I liked about City, as soon as they went a goal down, Doku got on the ball and started attacking his fullback again, putting them on the back foot, went out for a corner, and that's where they score from.
Wow. So Manchester City just confirming the run of form that they've been on lately. Mentioned how Haaland was visibly tried to keep chins up in his team and they conceded the goal. What a response. Ruben Diaz has had to leave the field. Now I think it was a blood injury. He's taken a change of shirt, but he wants to come immediately back on. They're not allowing him to do so.
If he doesn't come on for this corner, they'll be
you
can see Pep Guardiola pulling his hair out, his beard, sorry.
Now, well, I mean, there obviously is the rules when if you come off for an injury, head injury, you've got to wait the 30 seconds before coming back on, and that is a rule this season, and he's now being allowed back on. You've also got to stop the flow of blood, of course. Guardiola's saying the blood had stopped flowing, but anyway, he has left the field. He's got it sorted out. He's back on, and crucially, before the corner kick was taken, as you said, if Newcastle scored from a corner and Ruben Diaz hadn't been on for that reason, we'd never have heard the end of it. Tonali's going to take the corner. Exciting game. 1-1 at St James's Park. Drilled in towards the front post, headed back out for another corner again. Well, we waited a long time, then 2 in very quick succession, and I don't think, Jonathan Woodgate, we've seen the last of the goals here.
No, there's definitely going to be more goals. You can tell even by the atmosphere in the stadium. You can tell how much the players really want this game. They want the win. You see with both the managers as well. They're really electric on the sideline.
Tonali to take the corner kick again, deeper this time over the goalkeeper. Gvardiol saves Donnarumma's blushes. The Croatian on the goal line heads it away. Donnarumma had been beaten. This is Harvey Barnes, edge of the penalty area to Jacob Murphy, hangs in a really good cross. Voltemano off the crossbar, comes down, it's in again. It's Harvey Barnes. Newcastle take the lead, and he's off to the corner, and the bow and arrow celebration. Harvey Barnes scores 2 goals in about 5 minutes, and this game, which was convincing us was full of goals, is now delivering them aplenty. Barnes, Diaz, Barnes again. It's Newcastle 2, Manchester City 1.
It was a great finish from Barnes in the 6-yard box, just took it, volleyed it in the net, but before that they hit the crossbar. They were a real threat from a set play there, Newcastle, and what a game we've got in our hands here.
So Harvey Barnes' first goal was in the 64th minute, Ruben Diaz scored in the 68th minute, and Harvey Barnes has just scored again in the 69th minute. This is the sort of scoreline that this game was befitting after about 20 minutes today, after a real scramble in the penalty area here. Bruno Guimarães' header came back off the crossbar. Donnarumma stretching for that, was put out of contention.
I think he could be offside, Connor. Ooh. Bruno could be offside from the Voltemano head.
So Voltemano's header, Bruno Guimarães stretching to get it. That one comes off the crossbar, comes back off the bar to Barnes, who kills it brilliantly and scores. The goal is going to stand. They checked it. The VAR had a look, but Bruno Guimarães onside, and Harvey Barnes is on a hat-trick now. 3 goals in his last 2 games, and the City remonstrations continuing. Well, the VAR initially gave the goal. However, we are still paused and we're still waiting, and maybe there's further
I think he's offside. I think
to come.
Bruno's offside from the Voltemade header.
So we wait to see the outcomes. Craig Pawson assisted by Nick Hopton of the VAR booth. There had been a flash-saying goal confirmed. Now maybe that was just a delayed reaction from the Ruben Diaz goal. I mean, they've come in quick succession here. That might actually be the case. But the goal confirmed was only confirming the previous. So they must wait to see if this Harvey Barnes... I mean, what drama. The nature of the quick-fire goals here. If this 3rd goal of the game is to be disallowed, they're still looking at it. Your instinct very quickly was that it was offside.
I think it's offside. The Voltemade header, great header. Guimaraes looks like he's offside, and he hits the crossbar, then it lands to Harvey Barnes. Take what my eyesight's like.
So Sam Barrett has the very unenviable task. I don't think anyone envies the referees having to, in these moments, placate the players while the referee themselves is the one waiting for information.
Here we go.
There's been a yellow card shown to Gianluigi Donnarumma. I think that's for the protests. And so that is the first yellow of the game. I mean, this is huge. This is a big decision for Newcastle, their entire season, really. For Arsenal, who play tomorrow, the difference between City losing this game and not, if this goal stands, the repercussions, the knock-on effect will be huge. And still we wait. I mean, it's...
It can't be hard to draw some lines. Or they might be looking at a foul, maybe on Voltemade against Gaviol.
There could be something else.
I can think of.
The other thing is, if it's offside, they would say, well, it doesn't matter if Voltemade is fouled. It's whether he himself was fouled or whatever. Yeah. Well, we're still waiting. Still waiting.
Jason Tyndall celebrating.
The goal is given. Harvey Barnes claims his 2nd. And St James's Park roars. It's guttural approval there. Wow. It's been a really entertaining game, this, and it is all set up for a climactic final 20 minutes now. City have got to go for this, but suddenly it's Newcastle who've got wind in their sails.
Yeah, there's definitely more goals. You can see it. You can see the energy in the stadium. You can see the intent in all the players.
Newcastle 2, City 1. Cherki's passes behind Haaland, and this is all going to be disruptive for the champions. That glimmer of hope when they saw the VAR review, but judged not to be offside. You can see it for yourself on Match of the Day tonight. But they certainly had to take time over it, which suggests it was time. Nick Pope has possession for Newcastle. I mentioned Newcastle, that worrying record of giving away leads in the Premier League this season. They'll hope to hold on to this one. This is Bruno Guimaraes. Low ball to the feet of Tonali. Receives it well and gives it just as good a pass to Harvey Barnes. Attacking the penalty area now. Ruben Diaz comes across, good challenge. Barnes hit it ever so firmly ahead of him there. It was a heavy touch that gave away possession. And then Bernardo Silva wants a free kick. And I think he's going to get a throw. It's not clear from the indication of the referee. Lewis Hall has got a problem here.
So he's got a bit of cramp.
Yeah, 2nd Premier League start since February, and he's been running hammer and tongs at it. Always unlikely to see through 90 minutes this evening, and he is asking for some treatment as Pep Guardiola very much is doing the in case of emergency break glass here. He's going to make a triple change. He's going to bring on Savinho. He's going to bring on Oscar Bob, who you'll remember scored that dramatic late goal here a couple of seasons ago, and he's also going to bring on Tijani Reinders. So Savinho, Bob and Reinders are all coming on for Manchester City here as Newcastle assess Lewis Hall and see if he's going to be okay to continue. And the first change will be Jeremy Doku to be replaced by Savinho, and Botman is being prepared by Newcastle to come on as a change, and presumably if Lewis Hall is not okay to continue.
Tell you what,
himself.
I'd be pleased to see the back of Doku, because he's been a live wire, really talented player. Playing a bit more inside today, but I'll be glad to see the back of him.
Tijani Reinders is going to come on in place of Bernardo Silva. They're still working on Lewis Hall. He's still sitting on the pitch. And it's going to be Ryan Cherky who comes off for Oscar Bob. So plenty attacking flair brought on there. Bob, who's a live wire with the ball at his feet. Savinho very direct and getting into positions to create chances for others. And it is Sven Botman coming on, confirmed for Lewis Hall. So that presumably will force a bit of a rejig for Newcastle. Looks like 3 at the back maybe. Chow
to 5 with Murphy wing back.
Murphy goes left wing back, Livramento right back, Chow, Scher and Botman to batten down the hatches.
5-4-1. It's up to City to break them down.
So, quarter of an hour of normal time to play here. It's been an exhilarating game. We're really enjoying it. Let's go back to Dublin, though. A try in the early stages of the second half of the rugby for Chris Jones.
Ireland 10, South Africa 24. Remember, Ireland started the second half, Connor, with 12 men. They're since up to 13. But Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu had a run to the line, handed off Gibson Park, making the most of the 2 extra numbers. Ireland did kick 3 points at the start of the second half to get back into it, but South Africa have since opened a bit of daylight, and now you feel South Africa are sniffing Irish vulnerability. Ireland 10, South Africa 24 as we edge towards the 50-minute mark in Dublin.
And commentary continues on Sports Extra. Ireland have won 4 of the last 5 matches between those sides. Savinho's first cross-ins coming on as a sub into the Newcastle penalty area, controlled by Oscar Bob. Can't get anything goal-bound, so he retreats back to Mateus Nunes. Right foot delivery in to a very busy penalty area. Newcastle relieved to clear that away. Bob will try and keep it in play on the far side. And City have got to switch up a gear or two. They've had a good second half overall, but they've been caught cold by that double whammy of the 2 Harvey Barnes goals, and Pep Guardiola's team finding themselves 2-1 down here, and time beginning to run out. 12 minutes of normal time remaining on the big stadium clocks. Here's Jonathan Woodgate alongside me.
Newcastle are going to be even harder to break down. They've got something to hold on to, and when you've got something to hold on to as a team, you work that little bit harder, and that's what Newcastle are doing here. Man City are really struggling to find any gaps in between the lines. And Newcastle are defending well.
Formation-wise, I mean, City, it's hard to really grasp what they're doing here. It's almost like everyone's up at attack at the moment. Nico O'Reilly's up in the penalty area. Foden's in there. Tijani Reinders, Haaland, of course. Here's Gonzalez on the edge of the box. Back to Gvardiol. All 11 men back behind the ball for Newcastle, of course. Eddie Howe would seek this as a very, very important win. He's never beaten Pep Guardiola in the Premier League. This is Savinho, left-hand side, rolls it into Ruben Diaz. Ruben Diaz, who briefly equalised this game at 1-1. It's almost exactly 4 years. 4 years to within a month since he last scored in the Premier League. And wouldn't you know it, against Newcastle as well, Ruben Diaz. And scores against that same opponent here today. Long time between drinks. Here's Mateus Nunes, 15 yards outside the penalty area. Right hand side of City come forward. City in their sky blue. Newcastle in the black and white stripes. City playing right to left as we look down. Heavy touch by Ruben Diaz. He nearly lost it there, and he was the last line of defence. Here's Nico O'Reilly, pursued by a hungry Malik Chow. That's so good. And Riley gets away from him, and then this is Livramento, and Livramento touches the ball onto Tonali, and down he goes, fouled by Nico Gonzalez, who appeals that he got the ball, and the referee says that's a free kick to Newcastle. And Bruno Guimaraes had some comments that he was quickly trying to suck the words back into his mouth as the referee turned and glared at him, but no further action taken there.
O'Reilly so cool under pressure in this cauldron of an atmosphere. Some specimen, exceptionally good technical ability. He's going to be a star, you can see that. Picks up good positions, understands the game.
Into the final 10 minutes now. Newcastle, who've dropped more points from winning positions in the Premier League this season than any other team, need to fasten down the hatches now. Of course, a third goal would give them real comfort, and they won't abandon the hopes of that. But it'll be in their memory, that late Oscar Bob stoppage time winning goal here. That was 2 seasons ago when City came back to win 3-2. You know, that's the scenario that Newcastle will have all too familiar in their minds as they look to hold on to this 2-1 lead for now. It's been a very entertaining, exciting day on 5 Live Sport. Earlier on we brought you the commentary of Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 3 at Anfield, as Forest win there for the second season in a row. 6 defeats in 7 Premier League games now for Arne Slot. much to discuss with Aaron Paul and Clinton Morrison on 606, which is coming up in the next 20 minutes or so. But big stories elsewhere, with Chelsea making a move higher up the table. Crystal Palace winning again. What a season they're having for Oliver Glasner. Fulham got a late winner against Sunderland. And Bournemouth, who were in big trouble trailing 2-0 at home to West Ham, but came from 2 down to draw 2-2. Details of it all on the BBC Sport website. Highlights later on Match of the Day. And you can have your say on 606 with Aaron and Clinton coming up shortly right here. Lovely
Newcastle.
touch, Joe Linton to Bruno Guimaraes. This is the counter-attack. Lays it in front of Harvey Barnes. Good sliding tackle by Mateus Nunes. It needed ever so slightly more on it, the pass from Bruno Guimaraes. It was almost perfect, but good defending by City to clear it away.
That's exactly what they're waiting for now, Newcastle. They're sitting deep, they're defending well at 5-4-1. But then they're just waiting for that transition, that counter-attack, and when they break, they don't half break, and they look like they're bringing Alanga on, who will be absolutely perfect for those
Alanga
transitions.
And Joe Willock both about to come on, who've got the attributes for this sort of position now. City have to throw the kitchen sink at this. That will leave gaps, and Newcastle are bringing on the best equipped player to deal with that. Here is Savinho on the left-hand side. Gives it to Josko Gvardiol, midway inside Newcastle territory. Newcastle 2, Manchester City 1. If you're just doing our coverage, it's been a game full of big chances. It took a long time for the first goal to come, then a flurry of 3 in the space of 5 minutes. Oscar Bob inside the penalty area for City. On his left boot, tries to get the shot away. 3 defenders in front of him though, and it's blocked, and Bob has got a gamely try and keep this in play, and he does, out by the sideline on the right hand side. Gives it to Tijani Reinders. This is level with the edge of the penalty area. Newcastle still waiting to make that double change. Here is Nico Gonzalez. Back out to Oscar Bob. Infield a little bit to Tijani Reinders. All very close to the Newcastle penalty area.
There's no space for them to play.
They've just got to say that, denying City the gaps. Here's Nico Gonzalez. Back to Ruben Diaz, the scorer, the unlikely scorer of Manchester City's goal here in the second half. But at the moment, it's not going to be enough. And this strong storming run that City have been on is about to come to an end unless they can score here. Botman rises, wins the header, but he's given it straight to Oscar Bob. Foden can't control as it was lashed at his feet, and Newcastle get it away. Chance of a counter here for Tamada. Can release Tonali now. Has he got the pace? Gvardiol trying to keep up with him. Tonali trying to burst in. It's a great tussle between the two of them. Back comes Savinho to help too. Tonali gets bogged down by the byline, and it's going to be a goal kick in the end. That was a great tussle between the players there.
Brilliant. It was great play by Valdemada. Held it up. Typical number 9. Swiveled. Tonali ran past him. Little ball through, and you can see they both felt like Gvardiol and Tonali have both felt that run, especially so late on in the game. But he's been fantastic, Tonali. He's been absolutely outstanding throughout the game. First minute to the 84th minute, he's been brilliant.
Right, Newcastle about to make their double change, so Harvey Barnes will get a hero's ovation as he departs. Nick Voltemada, when he watches the replay back, he'll realise he could have certainly had a goal or two today. It'll all be forgotten about, of course, if Newcastle do hold on for the 3 points, but both of them getting strong ovations as Elanga and Willock come on. Joe Willock, who scored against Manchester City in this game 5 seasons ago. I remember it was a penalty that was saved, and he scored the rebound of it. And Anthony Elanga, who's come on, the £55 million summer signing from Nottingham Forest, who has still not scored a goal for Newcastle. He'd love a breakaway chance here to try and put that right.
He's playing centre forward here, so he might get one.
This could be his chance. 5 minutes of normal time to play. There'll be stoppages too, of course. 5 live at BBC Sounds. Cold night at St James's Park, but a game to really warm the hearts for Newcastle fans. This is just the sort of performance that this team have needed after some sluggish results. Ruben Diaz gives it to Gvardiol on the left-hand side. Now Savinho, who's yet to really produce a killer ball, sends this one in, not close up to Haaland. Oh, it bounced up onto an arm of Jacob Murphy there, and the City players are all swarming around the referee here to say, hang on, let's have a look at this. The ball that City tried to take the corner quickly, and the referee is saying, wait. He wants the VAR to have a look, and I think they have done, and they are satisfied. I'll tell you what, it hits his arm, so it's whether it's in the right thing of the rules and natural body position, all that. For a moment, that was dicey for Jacob Murphy, but he's gotten away with it. Corner to City. Phil Foden to take. Left-footed delivery in. Flicked onto the front post by Nico Rice. Savinho crashes it off target. He really went for pace there. A volley inside the penalty area, but a volley that skews away wide to the top left-hand corner.
Looked like he tried to hit it too hard. You don't need to go for power there. It's more accuracy. You've got a chance.
I remember being to the Club World Cup in the summer, and Savinho scored a goal in a similar position to that, actually a brilliant volley. I mean, it's great when they hit the roof of the net, when you crash them like that, but when they sail into the crowd, it's a different story. 2-1 to Newcastle it remains. City need goals, and Pep Guardiola is bringing on a man who scored a hat-trick against Newcastle last season. Omar Mamouche has just been introduced. He scored an early hat-trick, 14 minutes between the 3 goals at the Etihad last season. So Omar Mamouche comes on to join Erling Haaland in the attack as City increasingly, with desperation, seek a goal here.
I'm surprised it took Ford enough, to be honest. I thought he was excellent first half. Okay, a bit quiet second half, but he's the one who can unlock defences. He's got that talent to receive on the half turn and place a sliding pass for Haaland.
Omar Mamouche, who's yet to score in the Premier League this season. He's missed a lot of games with injury, of course. Here is Savinho on the left-hand side. The clock ticks on. We're in the 87th minute now. And this is to Gianni Reinders on the right-hand side. Gives it to Oscar Bob. Level with the edge of the penalty area. The City attack. They're on the right-hand side. And Ruben Diaz now, more centrally, changes the flow to the left-hand side. Savinho up against Livramento, who's worked really hard today. Back to Ruben Diaz again. Back to the centre to Mateus Nunes. Back to Ruben Diaz. Has a look up. Here it comes. Floated into the penalty area. Firmly headed out and away by Fabian Schär. But Newcastle don't hold on to the ball. A few groans from Newcastle fans who thought that Willock should have worked a bit harder to try and get to it there. City come again, and it's going to be wave after wave of City attacked from now to the finish, you know that. Savinho to the byline, tracked by Livramento, wonderful tackle. Corner to Manchester City on the left-hand side. Newcastle 2, Manchester City 1.
Yeah, they just seem to be serving Savinho down this left-hand side, asking him to take on Livramento constantly. He's a threat. You can see what he's trying to do with it. Got him another corner.
Such an entertaining game in this. Is there to be a late twist? Corner taken by Gianni Reinders. Savinho's touch is terrible. What's he done there, Savinho? He's given the ball away.
Look
and Newcastle are going to canter. And Elanga's running like Usain Bolt through the centre. Murphy looks up for him. Couldn't see him in time. And Nico O'Reilly made up great ground to get back. Murphy didn't play the pass. He didn't think Elanga had made the space sufficiently.
We thought he was going to make up there, Elanga, but Murphy done ever so well. He kept the ball for his team, because then it'd have been another transition.
Yeah, it's more important to keep it at this stage than to get the third goal. Newcastle 2, Manchester City 1. We move into the 90th minute in 10 seconds. Nick Pope comes out of his penalty area. Haaland looking tired as he goes in pursuit of him. Erling Haaland, everything he's touched this season has ended up on the back of the net. Is he going to leave St James's Park without a goal today? He's been scoring against everyone lately. As Nico O'Reilly tries to clear the ball away. In fact, since his first game against Newcastle, Haaland hasn't scored in the last 5 that he's played against them. As before today.
Chow's done well against him.
Yeah.
Chow's done really well against him. And okay, he's had a chance early on. Maybe should have scored, but over the 90-minute period, Chow's done well against him.
Such an entertaining game. So many chances. So many big moments. But at the moment, it's Harvey Barnes who's going to steal the headlines here. His 2 goals are on the verge of winning this for Newcastle and opening the door tomorrow for Arsenal to stretch that lead at the top of the Premier League even further. What a good weekend this could be for Mikel Arteta's team. City, who started today 4 points behind Arsenal, stays like that, the gap could be 7 tomorrow. This is Savinho. He's got Nico O'Reilly outside him. He tries to cross himself, and that sums up the panicked rush of City at the moment. Savinho's not had a great few minutes. Gave the ball away for that counter-attack. Played an aimless ball into the penalty area there. I think City's race is run here. You never rule them out, especially when 8 minutes are added on, but they looked a bit out of ideas there the last few attacks. Donnarumma comes sliding out of the feet of Elanga. Elanga rather dramatically fell to the ground, but that's not a penalty. He did collide with Donnarumma, and the evidence of it is that Donnarumma's hurt himself in the process there, but he can't afford any delay here, so Donnarumma gets back up to his feet because he knows his teammates need him to be erect so that they can play on. They don't have to stop play. Here's Oscar Bob, gives it back into Gianni Reinders. To the near side, to Josko Gvardiol. City need to dig deep here. They need something special. Good run by Reinders into the penalty area, tries to pull it back, but who else but Malik Chow makes the block. He has covered so much ground today. It's another Manchester City corner. Newcastle lead 2-1.
He's a brilliant reader of the game. sees it before the forward sees it. Sometimes he's there before the forward. He knows where the pass is going.
8 minutes of stoppages. One has elapsed already. Tijani Reinders' corner from the left-hand side. City have never been ahead in the game. Cross comes in towards the front post. Livramento's header out. Back to Savinho, edge of the penalty area. Can he deliver here? Bruno Guimaraes in close proximity to him. Gives it to Tijani Reinders. Low to the feet of Mamouche. Mateus Nunes. Back out to Savinho. Here comes the cross into the area. And there was a lunge by Nico Gonzalez, but he couldn't get there. Mamouche tries to shoot. Joe Willock with the block. I think Bruno Guimaraes actually made most of that block. And Tonali's going to try and run it out here, but he's been caught on the ball. But he was fouled in doing so. Fouled by Oscar Bob. Free kick to Newcastle. Yellow card for Oscar Bob. Newcastle will take their time over this free kick.
Yeah, perfect scenario now for Newcastle. Look, just try and sell out this game. They need to control it. Try and keep the ball, play in the corners. Make it difficult for Manchester City, who have struggled a bit second half to really create top opportunities like they did in the first half. I think the first half they were really, really good. Second half they've dipped. And Newcastle have just been better on transitions and better in bigger spaces to win the game.
City have had 15 shots in this game. They've had 31 touches inside the opposition penalty area. But Newcastle's defence have limited them to just the one goal scored by Ruben Diaz. And the 2 goals taken so well down the other end by Harvey Barnes have got St James's Park in thrall here. Just looking around the stadium, they're on their feet, they're twirling the scarves, they're clapping their hands. So it's going to be some night out in Newcastle tonight if it stays like this.
Big market, can you? Are you staying over, Connor?
I've got to get to London for tomorrow, so I've got to get out of here quick smart. But I have a feeling this could be a lively evening on Tyneside tonight. This is Haaland jumping and beaten by Botman. It's just not happened for Erling Haaland on the day that he was ready to celebrate 100 Premier League goals. Those celebrations are going to have to be put on ice, it would appear. When you never rule it out with Haaland, there's still 4 minutes of stoppages to go here. The man who has scored 32 goals in 20 games for club and country this season. But Newcastle are turning the screw here. They're down by the corner flag. Willock plays it off Mateus Nunes. Appeals for a handball. Knows as the referee. City trying to break it out for the back. Josko Gvardiol to Nico O'Reilly. A confident backheel in the circumstances to pick out Savinho. Fouled by Joe Linton. Knew exactly what he was doing there, Joe Linton. He'll take the yellow card, knowing it completely disrupts Manchester City and their chances.
And look how far Tonali booted the ball. But it's a great foul. It's a sensible foul. It's what they want to do. They want to slow the game down. You got to do it to win games.
This would be a big one. I mean, all 3 points are worth the same, no matter who you beat. But I just think the mood shift, the confidence boost that Newcastle would get at the start of what's a big week for them. Travelling to France on Tuesday to play Marseille. They've got Everton away next weekend to the Premier League. Spurs here then at St James's Park. Bob sends in a cross looking for Haaland. Nearly, but not good enough as Botman clears away. Gvardiol hounded down by Elanga. Gives it to Savinho on the left-hand side. Newcastle 2, Manchester City 1. Really high-octane game here tonight at St James's Park. City about to leave empty-handed as things stand. Bob full of trickery on the right wing. Tries to go around Murphy. Oh, he's done really well, Bob. Into the penalty area. But Joe Linton is like a brick wall as he blocks Oscar Bob. And the ball goes out for a Manchester City corner.
What a bit of play from Oscar Bob. How sharp did he look? His feet, close control. But Joe Linton, again, similar to Tonali, in the aspect of not giving up and going all the way to the end.
Corner to City. Swung in high and hopeful. It landed at the feet of Nico Gonzalez. He wasn't ready for that. He couldn't get a shot away. Perhaps he should have done. Tijani Reinders sends it in low. Blocked away by Malik Chow again. Again, Newcastle celebrated like they've scored a goal. The ball is out for an attacking Manchester City throw, and we are midway through the 6th minute of 8 that have been added on for stoppages. This is 5 Live at BBC Sounds, live from a cold St James's Park that is ready for a huge roar of celebration if Newcastle can hang on for another 90 seconds here. Mateus Nunes with the long throw. Little push on the back of Ruben Diaz, but it's not firm enough. Then there's a header by Gvardiol down into the penalty area. The free kick is Newcastle's. They roar again their approval, and City appear to be out of time.
Minute to go. Defended it well again Newcastle. Got all the players in there. willing to head the ball out, willing to put the bodies on the line, willing to block. And to be fair, they've done it really well. They've done it really well, especially in this second half.
You know, just to put it in context here, how long it's been. This would be just a second Premier League win over City in 20 years for Newcastle. And Eddie Howe, who's never beaten Pep Guardiola before in the league, he did have a League Cup victory against them, of course, but not in the Premier League. He is seconds away from realising that now.
It's not easy to beat the greatest.
And Pep Guardiola will wonder where it's gone wrong today, because, you know, you look at all the stats and the data, his team had the chances, the really good, clear-cut chances, and this team, which has been so full of potency all season, just couldn't put one of them away, apart from the Ruben Diaz one. Guardiola, left-hand side, never over till it's over, of course, with City. 2-1 Newcastle lead. City on the halfway line with Nico Gonzalez. 40 seconds of the 8 minutes remain. There might be another little bit to add on top, but it won't be much. There's not been stoppages. Ruben Diaz floats it in. O'Reilly jumps and heads, but it's off target. He was always stretching to get to that. He was never going to be able to really direct it or plant the header. It was a flick on, and it's a flick away off target that gives Newcastle a goal kick, and they'll waste as much time as they can overtaking.
There was no real pace on the cross neither. It was a tough one. His timing was slightly off, but it was the cross, no speed on it, no real swaz on it. It was just sort of like poked into the box.
Highlights on Match of the Day tonight, BBC One at 10:20. You'll want to watch the highlights of this. It's been a really entertaining game in terms of chances. City, of course, will be so disappointed if they go home empty-handed, but make no mistake that Newcastle have earned this today. May have been a little bit of fortune about the offside decision for the Harvey Barnes second goal, but the VAR looked at it for a long time, and you know, those offsides are subjective decisions. Here comes the free kick, taken by Mateus Nunes. Everyone forward for City now, apart from Donnarumma. Marmoush can't control. Oh, they're in trouble now. They're all up in attack and they're trying to get back as Willock puts it in front of Elanga. This is why they brought him on. Mateus Nunes slides and collects with him, but the referee says it's not a foul. And there is the final whistle. And there is the St. James's Park roar. And Newcastle beat City in the Premier League for only the second time in 20 years. Make no mistake, this is a blow to City's title charge, because attention will now turn to the North London derby tomorrow to see if Arsenal can capitalise against Spurs at the top. But what an opportunity has now presented itself for Mikel Arteta's team, as the story here on Tyneside is Newcastle United, and specifically today, Jonathan Woodgate, the story is Harvey Barnes.
It's a brilliant result for Newcastle United, a great performance. You'd say out of possession they were top draw, made it so difficult for City to try and find little pockets in between the lines. They had a lot of chances in the game, Newcastle, especially the first half. There could have been 3-3 first half. They had some unbelievable chances. Second half, I thought they were the better team. Kept on catching Man City on transitions. Ended up scoring 2 fantastic goals by Harvey Barnes. But what a game of football.
What a game indeed. So many chances, so many saves, so many near misses for Manchester City, who are going to have to dust themselves down, because they've got Bayern Munich in the Champions League on Tuesday. They play Leeds at home in the Premier League. But this season, in which City, whenever they seem to be really building up a head of steam, I remember going to Villa Park in October, and they'd been on a run of 10 games unbeaten, and they were beaten at Villa, and then they pick themselves up again and they go, and they've had 7 of their last 8 in all competition. But now another stumble. Pep Guardiola's team, as good as they've been, they've not been able to keep that consistent run going.
Yeah, they found it difficult today. You could see in the game as well about the consistency in the play, because 1 minute they were dominating and the next minute they'd lose a lack of concentration and they'd get done on a transition. I mean, they're an exceptional football team, and they'll still be there at the end of the season. They'll still push Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, whoever's at the top of the table. They'll be pushing for it.